We're live. Boom. Hello, everyone. I'm wearing one of my favorite new shirts. Can you believe I found this in a thrift store? A dry fit Spider-Man tee in this economy? Are you kidding me? How lucky am I? Well, very lucky, it seems. We already have, how many did I see? I saw 200, I think. But anyway, just awesome to see you all here. Feeling pretty good. Happy Tuesday. Happy February. We're already a month into the new year. Whew, time flies. But great to see you all here. Thank you so much for showing out for another live gaming news show. Very, very happy to be here. Spilled the beans, Maddie. Don't worry. We'll spill all the beans today. We have a jam-packed show. I'll say this numerous times before we begin. We have a lot of stories to go through today. A lot. So I'm really excited. I have on the docket here, our whole document here has, I think, 8 stories. I want to go through 5 today. Last stream, we only got through 3. But last stream, I had a little bit of a time crunch because my wife and I wanted to do dinner and a movie. So, yeah. Anyway, good to see you all. Hello, Ariana. Hello, Michael. Hello, Dylan. What's going on? Mr. Bazinga. Hello. Hello, LSK. Welcome. Welcome, Space Otter. Great to see you all. Very, very happy to be doing this because we got a really exciting day where a lot of news broke. I had our whole document prepared, but today's headlines were 2 editions that came in the last 12 hours. So I'm very excited to dive into that, to talk about that with you all. As always, when we go live, we'll hang for a little bit here before we dive in, just to make sure any kind of stragglers, those people who aren't early birds like y'all, can get on in here, come hang out. But good to see you all. Have you guys been to the movies recently? I just saw Send Help. Like I said, my wife and I did dinner and movie over the weekend, and we saw Send Help, the latest film from Sam Raimi. My Spider-Man Go is why we got the Spider-Man shirt on. Great movie. Really great. Corny in all the right ways. I love the way he makes movies. He just gets a fun spirit in it all. I know some people talk shit about Multiverse of Madness, but that's one of my favorite Marvel movies in recent memory. I should say it's one of the most memorable ones for me. Obviously there's Endgame and whatnot that I think are great, but for me, I just find the craziness and the way it broke the conventions of a typical Marvel movie was really enjoyable. So yeah, I had a lot of fun watching that movie. But definitely, if you guys haven't been to the theater, it's a really good time because I've been out of the theaters for a while up until 2024. I started going to more movies, and it was a lot of fun. So yeah, just if you've been only gaming, I recommend get your films going. We got some super chats to open us up here. Dilly Bide says, interesting that Virtuos worked on the Fallout TV show and made the Oblivion remaster. Hopium. We will talk about that today. Dilly, thank you for your super chat. But yeah, we will absolutely talk about this. This is our headline story of the day. We'll talk about the Fallout 3 remaster rumors that are exploding online ahead of the Fallout Season 2 finale that's happening later today. So I felt like today's the best time to talk about all of that. Coldplay, thank you for your donation. We appreciate you. I don't know why it says that your message was retracted. No, not the Outer Worlds. No. We will talk about this one as well. Like I said, this Obsidian report, man, it's a little spooky. It's a little spooky. And so, yeah, unfortunately, I will be a bearer of bad news between both Fallout and Obsidian today. Although Obsidian, they're kind of trying to downplay what's going on with them. I do think if you look through kind of the mess, you see that they're not in a great situation. Do I have a letterbox? I don't have one. I kind of want to just, this sounds ridiculous, but until I start really hitting theaters really frequently, I still have some work to do. But I don't want to turn into a thing I'm tracking. I love tracking my games because I know I'm always playing games. So I have a whole sheet breaking that down. I actually showed it on my Retro Rebound channel. To me, I think that's a cheat code for all the games I play. But something like a letterbox turns movies, which I'm trying to get more into this thing I got to track and stay on top of. So I'm not doing that yet, but it's something I want to do because, as I'm watching more, I want to keep track of what are my real favorites, that sort of thing. I can say right now, my favorite movie of all time is still It's a Wonderful Life. Just, if you haven't seen it, it doesn't matter if it's not Christmas season, man. Go check that thing out. So good. DeMarco, great to see you again, my friend. What do we got going on here? We got a couple of super chats. Adam Tell, thank you. Imagine an isometric Fallout game made by In Exile, dude. I was like practically begging Fargo. I was like, dude, can you please you work with Microsoft, you have a great relationship with Phil. Todd's a nice guy. Like, let's get something. You got Wasteland assets. Like, you got something going here, right? Like, let's go for it, man. I'm with you. I agree. Thank you guys so much for supporting the streams. Appreciate the super chat love here. All right, we got a Resident Evil super chat here. Okay, I mean, your boy is brushed up. Let's talk. Never played RE Code Veronica with the recent leak of an announcement trailer for this and releasing the beginning of next year. Should I play the original or wait for the remake? So I am in the camp of, I've not played this game, by the way. Hang on. Where is it? Bang. All right. I have it here on GameCube. I'm going to play this because as someone who just played Resident Evil 3 for the first time with the remake, I think it was kind of a mistake because Resident Evil 3 remake felt like Resident Evil 2 remake DLC, really. Like, the story and how it ends is important for how it clearly is setting up where you're going back to in Requiem. But I felt I missed a lot of what made that game truly special at the time with Nemesis. So I want to see like what made this game so highly coveted, you know, back then and made people like, why are they remaking this? I know people are going to call me crazy when I say this. Why are they remaking this over like RE5 or RE6, right? Because they've remade 2, 3, 4, they remade 0, right? Like they've remade all these games, but they're skipping like 5 and 6 and just like going to Code Veronica. And the other weird thing that they're doing is like Outbreak seems like a story that matters a lot to Resident Evil Requiem because of like Ash being there. So I don't know what they're doing. I don't want to oversell the RE stories. Like, I know they're a little like crazy and they drop plot threads. Like, if you look at the final credit scene for RE3 Remake, you're kind of sitting there like, okay, what was that? Without spoiling, I won't say what it is, but yeah, I would say play the original. These games aren't very long, and that's what I plan to do. You know, I want to know. I like to connect with the originals of things before, if it's sensible, right? Like, if this was like a 50-hour game, I might wait for the remake. But because it's a Resident Evil game, and this is probably like 15 hours tops if we're lucky, 20 hours tops if we're lucky, for me, I just would say go and play the original so you know. Comparing and contrasting is the fun of these remakes, at least for me. Otherwise, my brain gets bored. I'm like, okay, this is like something that's been done before. Where I'm at that age now where like the cycle is beginning again, and I'm starting to see the things I saw as a kid come back as just remakes. So that would be my suggestion. Thank you for your super chat, though. Appreciate you guys. Peaches, checking in to support Maddie is the top of my to-do list. Thank you. Thank you. I love being at the top of the to-do list. All right. Rook, the disparity between Obsidian's critical reception and commercial success needs to be studied. And study we shall do today. Rook, good to see you, my friend. I'll get back to you soon, by the way. I appreciate your patience. Conman says the hopium is super high, right? And if nothing comes or really happens tonight, then the copium will be even more high. Also, love you, Maddie. Keep it up. Love you too, man. Look, for those of you who are in this stream here, looking for Fallout rumors, you will be the ones who get to spread the word on, like, when this countdown ends and everyone's like, oh my God, I can't believe it's not Fallout 3 Remastered, because there are so many creators out there hyping it up. I just, like, do your part. We need to spread the word here. That's what I'm trying to do here today. We got another super chat here. Do you think the Fable reboot will get Dog as DLC? If they sell it as DLC, man, that's like fucked up. That should be a core feature. It should be absolutely a core feature. So I hope, I'd love to see the dog, but I really hope they don't just be like, dog DLC, pay us $5. If it's a free update, sure, why not? It definitely would give the game a feeling a little bit like, oh, you should have just been here at the start. We'll see what they do with it. Maddie, what do you think of the Fable remaster? I know it's getting a lot of love, but I'm excited. Oh, are you talking about the reboot or the reboot? I think looks, I'm like a little bit, I'm cautiously optimistic. I think there are parts of it that look really good, but there's parts of it that I, as a huge Fable fan, that are missing in this reboot that I think are the core of what made that series special are gone here. And I just think that presents a problem. So I'm not full on like a lot of people where they're like, I can't wait. Like, I am cautious about this game in a lot of ways because I think the wheels can fall off real quickly. IGN praised Highguard, but not Crimson Desert. Yeah, I mean, look, the problem these outlets are facing nowadays is at least with someone like me, you can individualize me and try to put my opinion in a box, right? Like you can give that a shot. Hey, Squid and Cheese, great to see you again. Thank you for the 5 membership gifts to the rest of the crew here. Awesome of you to do that. Thank you, man. But yeah, the problem IGN's facing and all press outlets are facing is they're like a bunch of different people with different opinions and different tastes. And so you'll occasionally see these like random out there takes where it's like, oh my God, why did someone post that headline? Like, I think PC Gamer saying like, Highguard's really good if no one's barking in your ear on the internet. I'm like, you know what this is going to do, right? Now, if it's someone's individual YouTube channel, that's great. Fine. That's your take. But when you're a whole outlet, you got to kind of consider that in lieu of everything else. So that's the problem they face. Again, thank you, Squid and Cheese, by the way, for gifting everyone. Check that out. Very nice. Guys, thank you for supporting the streams. Appreciate you. Splicer, who's now a member, thanks to Squid and Cheese, man. That's awesome. In other gaming news, Helldivers 2 now has drivable tanks, and we are making a push to Cyberstan. Time has come once again to fight for democracy. Interesting. I did not know that they were adding tanks. I saw they had like sales updates that might pass like, was it like 20 million? It's crazy. Today's elixir, by the way, because I know y'all are going to ask. Today's elixir is freshly squeezed oranges and freshly squeezed carrots. It creates a sweet, slightly tart drink, and it's quite refreshing. I'm telling y'all, best investment my wife and I made was like a manual juicer. We just squeeze a bunch of oranges, squeeze a bunch of carrots, and that's what you got here. It takes a lot of time, though, and your arm's definitely tired afterwards. We want to make sure we can commit to it first before we get like an upgraded pumpkin juice. That's what we're calling this now. It's not pickle juice this week. You guys live rent free in my head because you know what's funny? I was going to pour the pickle juice, even though it's not pickle juice, but you know what I'm talking about. I was going to pour the pickle juice, but I was like, they're going to cook me up. Let's see how they react to orange juice. You can squeeze carrots. You can. Yeah, absolutely. All right. What else we got here? Hudson Tech FX, thank you for super chat and always watch your content, brother. Hopefully you can come to the Fallout Vegas fan event this year. Yeah, I'd love to. Honestly, I'm trying to live my life more this year, and streaming's a big part of it. It's like that. This is difficult for me to overcome the hurdle. So, like, I'm trying to do more things that are for me, and like traveling to this fan event would be awesome. So, I'd love to go. I'm very excited about that. That last year was really the year to go with like the season 2 being set there, but I'm sure with the remasters on the way, there'll be another great year to also go that feels very, like, thematic. Why do people think Bethesda has to make a remaster when Microsoft owns the IP? I've said this for a while, that it's not going to be Bethesda who makes it. So your guess is as good as mine, Daily. Appreciate your super chat again. But yeah, I mean, it's on Microsoft since 2021 to have done something with Fallout. But Bethesda is also a steward of the franchise, and they can fight for these things because they can see how crazy their fans are. What games do you think deserve the remake treatment? Jade Empire. There's a random one for you. Jade Empire. That's a great game, and I'd love for more people to check it out. Macho Man, thank you for your super chat. Hey, Maddie, just started a YouTube channel. It's a great release for me to express things I like, or I love, like gaming, movie, and comics. I enjoy uploading, getting better at editing. Any tips to grow? Pick your niche. Stick with it. Those are the two ones. They're fundamentals. They are probably boring advice. You're like, oh, of course I know that, but do you? Because I think a lot of people hear that, but they don't follow that. You got to be consistent. You got to be there multiple times a week, and you got to embrace your niche. People are looking for something special. If you just have kind of generic sort of approaches to content, like you just have opinions on things, maybe that works when you're a little more established. I mean, that's kind of what this show's run off of. Like, okay, I know Maddie. He's got takes on things. Like, it works in that department, but you can't. It's not me trying to create levels between us, by the way, but just to be clear. But it's like you have to get to that point where people know who you are and they appreciate you for who you are. So you have to inject yourself into it. That's one thing that I had a lot of trouble with, was I would get made fun of a lot for injecting, like in school and stuff, for like putting myself out there. And that made it really tough to do content because I was afraid to get on camera. It wasn't until my, at the time, girlfriend, now wife, was like, you should get on camera. And I was afraid of the embarrassment of it. But I think that was the biggest mistake I made, was being afraid of just getting out there and being myself, because it's a really validating feeling when you put those the weirdest parts of yourself out there. Like, I fucking love these games, and like, here's why. Putting yourself out there, and then seeing people resonate with that and like want to share a moment with you. Like, you know, it's cool when Bethesda does something and people think of me. You know, even if I love Bethesda because I want them to be great. Like, they may not be my favorite company now, but I love that people think of me for that. So that attachment only happens when you embrace who you are. It's the biggest advice I can give you. Be you, man, because it's tough to, and but it's fundamental advice. Just be you, and the growth will come with consistency. So yeah, best of luck on your journey. As Doomwalker says, don't let your dreams be dreams. Mango, happy Tuesday to you as well. Tanya, the countdown ends tonight. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Hey, we got some more super chats to go through here. Appreciate the stream support. And then we'll dive into our first news story for the day. Let's see here. What game series could do with a game like Stray? Hey, you play as an animal. I love Stray. Like, Fallout Dogmeat would be a cool spinoff. That's an interesting question. A game with an animal. Give me Blinks 3. That's my answer. Give me Blinks 3. That's an animal I would play as. Corey, good to see you again, my friend. Happy to see you. Happy to see you here. Thank you for supporting the streams here in these uncertain times of our Lord Howard. Might be overstepping, but any health is wealth advice for someone who struggles with overeating. These streams have been awesome, by the way. Thank you, Uncharted Wolf. Good to see you, man. Not overstepping at all. You know, I'm happy to provide feedback on these types of things. I think for me, because I occasionally struggle with this too. Food's very addicting. I love takeout. Like, that is a super fulfilling thing for me. And it's actually something that Rook, who is in chat with us today, he's kind of helping me with that. So there's no shame. You know, because I told him, I said, I like to eat takeout and I love the snack. And he recommended to me a more incremental strategy, which I had never considered. And it's been helping me a lot. He's like, think of the hobbies or the things that you do where you snack the most, right? For me, I snack the most when I game. And I sometimes snack during work meetings and et cetera, right? He's like, don't cut the snacking out completely. Pick one of those and cut the snacking out of that hobby. I've cut it out of gaming, but I've left it in with my work meetings, and it's becoming more gradual and easier to accept. I'm usually I can go cold turkey guy, but I would recommend that. That's been great advice for me to kind of slow down my snacking habits and leading to overeating and feeling bloated and feeling like crap. The other thing I'd recommend is meal prepping, so you don't make an impulsive decision. I did some meal prepping. Again, Rook helped me out with this. I don't have a crock pot, but I slow cooked in a Le Creuset pot that we had. Some chicken, carrots, and some potatoes, and it was really great. So, and that's been dinner for the whole week, and it was really easy. I just threw it all into a pot basically after like chopping up the potatoes, and threw it in the oven at 325 for an hour and a half. Checked the temperature of the meat, and then just organized it into a bunch of different little containers. And again, that's food for the week. So best of luck, but hopefully that helps. Speaking of Rook, he says, I would do war crimes to get Warhorse to make an Elder Scrolls game or a Fallout game. Yeah, see, there you go. He's also got great taste. I, too, would go very far for Warhorse to make like an Elder Scrolls game. I tried recommending Backlogged on your last video. It's like your sheets, but more interactive. I'll look into that. Yeah, thank you. Because a lot of people seem to like the sheet I made on Google, but a lot of people didn't know how to use it. So if Backlogged is great, I'll look into that as well. Big fan, Maddie. Stream when? Well, you're in one. I'm not sure what you're asking here. Thank you for your super chat here, Naruhina. Thank you. I would lose my mind for a Jade Empire remake, especially if they added stuff that they cut out, like sending your companions to do missions. And yeah, that's the thing, right? They cut out a bunch of stuff, and the companions could have been more fleshed out. I think just a little bit more. They're memorable visually. Like I remember Star or something. First companion, forgetting her name. But yeah, like I think the companions are the one weakish element of Jade Empire, but what a great game in Choice and Consequence and whatnot. Just really, really good. After the backlash of the Oblivion remaster, do you think they'll learn and listen for Fallout 3 remaster to fix the game-breaking bugs and keeping them in and fixing the optimization? Side hot topic, I hope they don't add sprint. I'm a little iffy on sprint too, by the way. I don't think the map is built to support it. It's built without sprint in mind. Like, I'm a sprint snob when it comes to Bethesda games. I don't know. It seems like Virtuos has a lot of work. Like, the fact that they worked on the TV show, it's like, Jesus, dude. Like, what? These guys are so busy. So I would love for them to stick around and support it. I think Oblivion remaster having, like, zero support is really weird. So, It's something I should ask the Bethesda reps I talk to. I'll ask them about that and see if I can get an answer for us. Hey man, would you like to see a remaster remake of the original Fable trilogy, or do you think they don't need one? They're so pure. I think a remake would go a long way because the maps are so disjointed. Obviously 3 comes to mind for a lot of people and one that would be remade, but Fable 1 and 2 being remade, I think would go a long way. Matthew Sim, we're about to get into the news. Appreciate your patience. We got 2 more super chats here. Josh, or wait, is your name Josh? No, I completely misread your name. Your name is JC6B. How did I get Josh out of that? Anyway, love you too, man. Thank you. With the new PSSR 2.0 update coming before April this year, and if it makes a huge improvement to graphics and frame rate, do you think PS5 Pro will be worth it? I think as someone who just got a 4K OLED monitor, I think it might be kind of worth it now, and especially over time as it goes up in price, I think it'll be worth even more. So, yeah, man, like... I do want to hop in on the PS5 Pro train now that I have an upgraded screen and can feel that difference. But I think if they're going to push the tech even more, that's exciting. And I hope it does help these new games out because right now it feels like visuals have been diminishing returns. And I would be the biggest champion of just like, please give us something to be excited about in the visual department, please. So yeah, thank you for your super chats, guys. Who's ready for some news? Let me get everything oriented here. I have all the Bethesda news up. And I'm just bringing it over to a new window here, and then we will get started. But thank you so much again for supporting these streams. I don't know how many of you guys are here. 1,300 of you here already. Thank you. We're already doing better than last week. That's really exciting. So, yeah, thanks for your patience. Let's dive right into it, man. So, the first topic I wanted to get into today was Fallout 3 Remaster. So, the Fallout 3 Remaster, right? A lot of people want this thing. It's a top 5 game of all time for me. After my New Vegas Platinum run, it's the first time I've ever kind of wavered a bit on, do I like this game more than Fallout 3? Like, I appreciate the writing, the choice and consequence, the replay value, the loot in the game is incredible. Like, there's so much I love about New Vegas, but there's so much I love about Fallout 3 as well. I think a lot of us forget how great Fallout 3 is. So, when we saw something like this from The Verge, where if we go here to this image, and under fiscal year 24, we find the Fallout 3 Remaster, obviously, I was ready to run through a wall. That's incredibly exciting. So we've known for a couple of years now that a Fallout 3 Remaster is on the way. This in particular, this little schedule here, everything here has been delayed by 2 years. So when you look at something like, for example, the Oblivion Remaster, that was like a little bit over 2 years. It trickled into 2025. But you'll see like Redfall was 23. Starfield was 23, right? Like all of this stuff that was supposed to be in 21 ended up in 23. So all of this is delayed by 2 years. This means a lot of people think that this year we're going to get the Fallout 3 Remaster. I think there's never been a chance in the world that that's happening because it's going to be by Virtuos, and that team just released Oblivion last year. And since that slipped in the calendar a little bit, I imagine that Fallout 3 Remaster will slip in the calendar a little bit. Now, the reason the Fallout 3 remasters are gaining steam is because of the Fallout TV show. If you go over to this website here for Amazon, they have an interactive map that you can click on different parts of it, and it's really cool, in my opinion here. Like, we're loading up the Caswinen now. You can enter, and they've created like a 3D environment here that you can actually walk around and check out all these different parts of the Fallout set. And when you go up to these interactive terminals here, it's funny. They kind of basically use like Google Earth, but they turned it into Fallout, which I thought was kind of neat. But you can click on these, continue, and then you can look at like behind the scenes footage like this, which I thought was personally like really cool, right? So with this in mind, again, people are looking at this website like, oh, this is really interesting. And when you drag, you see up here is a countdown timer that right now as we record this, it's 11 hours, 6 minutes. That's when this thing expires. And everyone's looking at this going, what is this over here? Naturally, a lot of people think that Bethesda is going to announce a Fallout remaster, a New Vegas remaster, a Fallout 3 remaster. Despite there being tons of reports out there saying that's not the case, we're here again talking about it because there has been more fuel added to the fire. What fuel is that? Well, this one I get why people reacted to. Virtuos puts on Twitter, They say, welcome back to the Wasteland Vault Dwellers. The finale of the second season of Fallout has arrived on Prime Video. Catch it today, February 3rd, 2026 at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Our team worked on environment art, creating photorealistic landscapes that viewers will encounter throughout the season. A big thanks to Magnopus for the fantastic collab as always. We look forward to more projects together in the future. Now, if you look at these replies here, anything else you'd like to add? Everyone liked that. Y'all give me a heart attack with the Fallout rematch. So, yeah, obviously these replies, hopium is being injected into the Fallout fans' veins. Fallout 3, New Vegas remaster tomorrow. Yeah, so people are reading into Virtuos, who developed the new Oblivion remaster, who's no doubt going to be making the Fallout 3 remaster, and saying, oh, they worked on the TV show. They probably worked on the game, and that's going to get revealed today. Now, my prediction has always been that the season 2 finale will show the Capital Wasteland or something involving that, which is possibly the part that Virtuos worked on. I find it weird that they kept this whole partnership secret until the finale, which says to me that the finale will have something very specifically by Virtuos, which again, I think is Fallout 3. Other bits of things being thrown into the fire here. There was a brand new trailer that was released here. This trailer is hilarious. It's called Best Buddies, and for those who haven't seen it here, it's with Aaron Moten. He dyes his hair blonde, and basically he's a roommate with the Vault Boy. And I think this is a fantastic commercial. Unlike no offense to Shroud, but unlike the Shroud one where I was like, who is this for? I think this commercial was great. Now, in this commercial, there were some particular Fallout 3 isms, we'll call it here. Now, one of them is this dialogue system right here. What the hell's going on here with the magnifier? You can see right here, Aaron Moten's got the whole entire Fallout 3 dialogue system set up here. It's like, okay, interesting they used this color HUD and this scroll box and the text being here. This is New Vegas. This is Fallout 3. Why didn't they do something like Fallout 4 or 76? I don't know. But then also you'll see in the trailer here that they visit the Capital Wasteland. So people are looking at what's happening here and thinking to themselves, okay, I think Bethesda's teasing something. If that wasn't enough here, as covered by yours truly, let's watch a little Mr. Matty, shall we? As if you're not already doing that. Let me get the volume right here. Let's see what I had to point out in my Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition review. And they talk about the Appalachia. Cool, right? One of the things that did get my brain sparked a little bit was the weird amount of new Fallout 3 assets. And I don't mean this like, oh, they added things for you to decorate your hideouts with or things like that. But within this dungeon, there are just like Vault 101 posters, which it's obvious what Bethesda is doing here. Like this is, I mean, coming straight from them, and there's no real mention of anything. Yeah. So very obvious here that they are teasing a little bit of Fallout 3 remaster in the new creations that launched with Fallout 4's Anniversary Edition. So that's another thing that added fuel to the fire. So what you have so far here is Virtuos being involved. You have a countdown timer. You have a commercial that's heavily leaning into Fallout 3. And then you have, excuse my beautiful face here, Fallout 3 assets from Vault 101 that are found in a dungeon that has nothing to do with Vault 101. So naturally, everyone thinks when the timer expires, this is going to be the Fallout remaster. It's going to be announced. There's so much smoke and fire here. I don't think that's the case. Why is that? Well, I guess spoilers ahead. This has nothing to do, in my opinion, with spoiling Season 2 of Fallout. But if you haven't watched it thus far, I guess beware. But someone on Reddit dug into the metadata for the website and said, spoiler, what the Fallout countdown is about here. So now we get to find out what it's about. And again, as someone who has not seen episode 7 yet, I'm watching it actually after this stream and has not seen the finale, of course, yet. I don't consider this a spoiler, but just in case you do, I just want to warn you again. But now 3, 2, 1, let's click on this and view the spoiler here. The countdown. Location 4. Hey, does that look familiar here? What does that remind you of, I wonder? Yeah, so also below here is a text description. They said, I'm making this post because I know many people will be disappointed in 18 hours and I want to let you down easy. Downvotes are welcome, I'd understand. I looked at the metadata, and it's a 3D location explorer for Mr. House's penthouse. The name location 4 will be replaced by the penthouse with the icon above, and here is the description. Once the private domain of Mr. House, it overlooks the strip with a commanding view of New Vegas. Equal parts luxury suite and control center. Step back in time to this intersection of decadence and authority. They said, I won't share any more details like the preview image and the actual content, but that's basically it. So I think they did the best they could while letting people down nicely. Also not totally spoiling what's here, but a lot of Fallout fans did this to themselves, in my opinion. I know that's not really like a popular take here, but like Amazon will never, ever, ever tease a Fallout video game, in my opinion. I will happily stand up here on stage and tell you I'm wrong, but I don't think there was ever a chance in hell that this had anything to do with a Fallout remaster before any reports came in. Obviously, it was worth a look and wondering what it is, but my prediction was everything from a merch store to a new location. You can watch my video on it, but I talked about that. So that's what the countdown timer is. It has nothing to do with the Fallout remaster, and I think the most you get here is Virtuos maybe working on something in Season 2 that teases what's happening in Season 3, which also happens to coincide with the Fallout 3 remaster. Again, my prediction has always been like, if you think of how Season 1 ended for Fallout, you saw the strip. I think of the Capital Wasteland for the end of Season 2. I could be dead wrong about that. But my thought process is, if they're working on something, why are they saying it now for the finale outside of just announcing the partnership? It could just be as simple as like, hey, this is a work collaboration. We're announcing it because this has been, Virtuos is becoming more of a household name, if you will, with the games and the projects that they're taking on. So maybe they just wanted to proudly announce it. I don't know. But yeah, there isn't going to be a Fallout 3 remaster announced tonight. So I've seen like people predicting release dates, release windows. I think if you see Capital Wasteland, it indicates where we already knew we were heading, right? We already knew we were headed to the Capital Wasteland. Whether it's a Fallout 3 remaster or Season 2, like, I think it's obvious which way we're going here with the Fallout franchise. So that's the update, ladies and gentlemen. Fallout 3 remaster is definitely happening if leaks are to be believed, and they should be believed because in the main case I always point to, it came from Bethesda, but it's not probably getting teased tonight. You're probably getting stuff related to the TV show because these two market their things separately. Like, look at how Fallout Days stream went. Fallout Days stream, obviously a great place to drop something for Season 2 of Fallout, but there was nothing there. Bethesda and Amazon do not work together in the way that we all imagined they would. It's something we were all wrong about. And so that's what we got here, y'all. Unfortunately, Fallout 3 remasters that are exploding online are a lot of nothing. A lot of hot air, in my opinion. So there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's check in on chat. How's everyone doing? We feeling okay? Hate to be the pin in the balloon here. A lot of oofs, bruh. Yeah, I know. Sorry, guys. I know. It's a bit of a bummer here. But a lot of people thought it was like, oh, it's going to get shadow dropped at like the developer direct. That's not happening, obviously, unless there's like another developer direct. Then maybe the window gets pushed a little bit. But that obviously didn't happen. So yeah, it's sad. It's sad. I agree. I wish we got it sooner. I think the timing could have worked out if Xbox had a brain and decided to, greenlight a bunch of Fallout projects when they bought the IP that was most valuable within Bethesda right next to Elder Scrolls. But yeah, they didn't. Not surprised, but disappointed. I'm sorry, guys. I never disappoint people in real time. Also, sorry, I'm chewing on ice. Yeah, Virtuos did just do Metal Gear Solid Delta. So, there's that. They could have another remake around the corner. I just don't think it's going to get announced today. Assassin AK, I'm sorry if I missed your super chat here. Hang on. I'm scrolling. I don't see... Hang on. I only see one from you, Assassin AK. Oh, there it is. Sorry, I found you. Maddie, you can only pick one game to play right now. The other game is canceled. Judas or Clockwork Revolution? Damn, dude. That's fucking tough. You're asking me to pick between my two goats. Fargo and Levine. I think both of these are going to be all-timers. It's so funny. These are the two games that I've said, like, oh, both of these will be some of the best games ever made. You tell me to cancel one of them? I'm going to go with Judas. There's nothing like a Ken Levine game. I'm going to go with Judas. Oh, man. Thank you for the reminder, AK. Apologies I missed your super chat. Dillybot is a believer. He says, never say never. There was a Game Pass drop from an article. Yeah, let's cover that as well. Hang on. Let me grab that for you guys here because basically what they... Actually, I don't even need to grab it. What they're referencing is that they were clickbaiting you. All right? That's coming from a YouTuber, by the way. They were clickbaiting you. Basically what happened is they were considering how Fallout 3 gets FPS boost on Xbox and calling it a remaster. So yeah, the hope for a 3 remaster is high. I think it would be wise of Bethesda to maybe tease it, but I also understand why they would want to hold on until they basically have the situation that happened with Oblivion remaster, because we saw how that did for their sales. So yeah, man, it's a bummer. It's a bummer that we're not getting any Fallout 3 remaster, at least not right now. We're going to get it. It's just I don't think we're getting it until an announcement. My prediction is like Fallout Day this year. Like that would be a good place, I hope. Nectar, thank you for, or Nexter, thank you for becoming a member on the channel. Appreciate you guys supporting the memberships, by the way. I shut down all the tiers except for the $5 one because I was not, there were like tiers there that were really old that were like untouched, and so I just wanted to keep it equal to like what a Twitch subscription would be, because I'm going to eventually start multi-streaming on Twitch, so I just wanted to be like even keeled and make sure I could provide like value, you know, like once I start really thinking that through. But that's there for like the badges and the emotes and all that stuff. So I appreciate anyone who becomes a member, and just know that like I'm thinking about what to add there. I'm trying to take this, like I said, piece by piece, and trying to just make sure I don't overwhelm myself with all these ideas, because I know how I get. I can explore an idea and just keep pulling and keep pulling. So I'm just trying to take it baby steps at a time. I appreciate you guys being patient with that. All right, what do we got here? Got a couple super chats. Mr. Matty livestream, dude, I've been subbed to you for what, 15 years, and I never knew you did. Wow, been here before. Survivor 2299. Keep at it. Thank you. Appreciate you, man. Good to have you hanging here. And yeah, we just started this, so it's no problem that you didn't know I was live. But yeah, these are always archived on the channel. If you guys miss them and you want to check out the rest of the stream, you can go ahead and do that. How do you feel about Obsidian's fall from what they were? From KOTOR 2 and overglazed New Vegas? I hear where you're coming from. I agree to an extent. Like, it's a top 5 game of all time, top 10 game of all time for me, but I do agree with, like, the glazing is so hard for a very, especially if you play the vanilla version of the game, very flawed video game. But I see where you're coming from. The 2 mid RPGs and Tim Kane only being wait, what, did I misread this? And Tim Kane only being end consoling. Okay, I know what you're trying to say here. We'll talk about Obsidian in a little bit here for our news, but I wouldn't call them necessarily a fall from grace. I think they had a rough year, though, because I would say fall from grace if all we got was like Avowed and Grounded 2, but I think Outer Worlds 2 kind of balanced me out. It's not the same case for everyone, but we'll talk about it. Yo, Maddie, I'm cleaning up my backlog with Legend of Dragoon, Alundra. I've never heard of these games. Xenogears. What would you suggest I play first? Love your channel. Well, Legend of Dragoon, I do know of. I would suggest that one, because that's Xenogears I have in my collection. I would also look at that one because I love JRPGs. Go with Legend of Dragoon. I've heard a lot of special things about that one. Oh my. 15-minute thoughts on Cogs. It's fantastic. Let me tell you what. Pause. Thank you, Daddy T. Oh, consultant. Thank you for the correction there. This was what this super chat was saying, and Tim Kane only being a consultant. Yeah, so he works at Obsidian now, like full time again. So his hands being involved in a project, I think, is a good sign. We'll see what it turns into, but no doubt about it that they're definitely not as strong of a studio as they used to be, and they're not getting the sales because of that. So let's not delay. We can dive right into that. We got, like I said, 5 stories to go through. DeMarco, thank you, brother. Thoughts on the 30% profit margin for Microsoft and how that'll impact its studios? Also part of a conversation that we're going to have with Obsidian. I guess I got to go. Yeah, I think this is going to be a problem for a lot of teams. And I think with Obsidian, you're going to see them choosing Avowed over Outer Worlds, in my opinion, is very much indicative of them thinking about how they can keep costs low on development so that they can hit those profit margins. Because basically they're taking these small bets and hoping they explode. And I think a lot of smaller teams, when I say smaller teams, I mean like Obsidian makes smaller games compared to something like Fable, right? At least based on what we know about Fable. So I think these teams that are making smaller projects are trying to take the smallest bets now so that they can hit their profit margins. They're basically all just trying to survive in this new sort of environment. But yeah, let's talk about it. Let me get all the documentation up and running here. This is a fun one here. This Obsidian report is not what I expected. I'm going to be honest. I was pretty incorrect on where I thought Obsidian was. This one was about, what was it? Eidos Montreal, if I remember correctly. Eidos. Love the Control F feature, man. So useful. Yes, it was Eidos Montreal. Okay. And then what else do we got here? What else did I put in here? Right. Original sourcing for this. And Microsoft's response. Gotta have all the sourcing. You know how it goes, guys. Wonder if there's a way I can like preset the window so I can just bring it up all at once. It's something I might want to do here. Okay, Microsoft tool. Boom. Okay, got that up. It's always interesting when Xbox numbers get involved. I'll tell you what. Let me get this Chris Avalone tweet up. Yeah, the homie's in the conversation too. Of course he is. We gotta get Avalone involved. I saw someone write in about a interview with Avalone and if I could get that set up. And it's like one of those things where, you know, I'm not trying to pressure him into it, you know, because Avalone's also a friend. So I don't like it's one thing. It's different with like people I have interviewed in the past where they're more like, I don't know, not friends of mine. Like I don't know them personally, where like Chris I do exchange frequently with, where I don't know if an interview would always make the most sense, but I'd want him to be comfortable with whatever we thought to do, but it's not something I've ever brought up to him. Let's see here. Jasper said I missed his super chat. I'm sorry, guys. Holy shit. Rough day for me. Hang on. Let me find you, Jasper. I wish there was a search bar so that I could quickly find them. Because what happens is I have this thing called Social Stream Ninja, and when I get super chats, it's what I use to put it on screen, but it only holds it for a set amount of time. So I need to make sure what I do moving forward here is maybe I got to see if there's like a pause feature or something like that. Because what happens is your guys' super chats unfortunately get buried, and then I can't even put them on screen. So I'll have to figure that out. I can't tell if I'm being trolled right now. Hold on. Jasper said I skipped his super chat. I'm looking again. This is the same shit that happened last time. I have Comrade Casper. I guess it's a good problem to have. I appreciate you guys so much for supporting this. This really it means a lot. It has been the heartbeat of my week. It's like the thing I think about and I look forward to and I don't take for granted. I really like just love hanging and talking games with you guys. Jasper. Oh, there you are, Jasper. Got you, bro. Thank you. Sorry you had the super chat again. I wish there was a way to refund it. I feel really bad because I'm just like, oh, you know, like, here, take your money back so I can answer your actual question. You shouldn't have to pay me to remind me. So I'm sorry about that, Jasper. Thank you. I was one of the few that liked Starfield for 2 weeks. Once I finish the main quest, I can't get back into it. 1 year later, I'm desperate for a replay. Should I replay with mods, replay via Genesis, or wait for 2.0? I don't know much about the Starfield modding scene, if I'm honest with you. Like, I look at the creations and like what King Ath's done. I think they do an excellent job. And I think there are some really great ones out there. I've seen Gene Park has talked to me a lot about the Starfield creations, and he's really big on them. What I would throw out there, Genesis is a fun way to do it, but Genesis is also like a complete overhaul. And we're talking about, you know, like 100+ gigabyte mod if you want to mess with that. It's also incomplete. If I'm you, I would do what I do for any game that I know is waiting for a sizable update, is wait and see what that adds and then go from there. So, Jasper, I'm like you. I enjoyed Starfield. I struggled to get back into it. It's a game I like, I don't love. People, when I'm critical of Starfield, go like, I saw it on Twitter when like I was talking about what Bruce Smith said, and I was like, he was like, oh yeah, what what did he say exactly? He said if some other company made Starfield, people would be raving about it. And I was like, no. And a lot of the replies were like, wow, you hate this game. I'm like, no, I don't. Just no. Bethesda's like not a victim here, man. They're not a victim of their success. They're not like Rockstar or something. All right. What we got here? Chris the Killer. Tic-tac-toe, 3 in a row. That makes 3 different Fallout countdowns that meant absolutely nothing. Brutal words. You got my man. He's being a poet right now, Bethesda. You got to do something. Chris is coming for you. I know you cannot talk details, but are you excited or optimistic about what you saw in the closed preview for Starfield? Juicehead seems to be. I don't want to say anything on this just because I don't want to get in trouble. I'm sorry. I'd love to answer this, but to be safe, man. I'm sorry. I know you super chatted for it, but I'm just going to have to give you a non-answer on it. We ever getting that fave JRPGs vid of all time vid? Yes, Vintage. Yeah, definitely. Like I said, I want to finish a lot of JRPGs before I get there. Like, you're probably going to be waiting at least a year when I think about it. So I just appreciate your patience on that, but no, it'll be a while. You're going to get like a top PS4 games of all time video soon, though. Vowed over Outer Worlds makes me a bit sad. Enough with the Dungeons and Dragons nerd shit. Half joking. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Fallout games need better enemy AI, in my opinion. They don't take cover enough, and they barely react to getting shot. This is old news, though. Yeah, it's a good point. That would go a long way in a remake. Loving your content for years. Hi from Croatia. Whoa! We're global, y'all. We're global. How about that? Rook, appreciate you becoming a member. All right, guys. Who's ready for the next story? Let's talk a bit about Obsidian Entertainment here. All right? Okay, here we go. Let's get into the news. Let me bring up my OBS here because it helps me keep track of things. Okay. Sometimes I don't know what screen I'm on while I'm talking, and I have to like quickly go, am I like showing my browser? I'm still getting used to using this Stream Deck here. All right, team. Oh, wait, let me bring out my notes too. Okay. Okay. Let's do this. No, not let's do this. Hold on. Okay. Now let's do this. All right. Obsidian Entertainment, ladies and gentlemen, have a lot of love for this team. You know, they've brought me some of my favorite games of all time. Everything from Star Wars Knights of the Republic 2. Probably my favorite, is my favorite RPG of all time. Everything from that to Fallout New Vegas, another favorite RPG of all time. And they've just been such great mercenaries, right? They would bring us South Park Stick of Truth. Like, when they were just fighting and scratching and clawing their way to contracts, I think Obsidian was a really exciting company, but I imagine that was not a fun position for them to be in. Unlike a lot of companies that have joined Bethesda, unlike a lot of companies that have joined Xbox, Obsidian seems to have really improved in that time. They've gotten more projects out. I think their quality and polish has gone up a bit. They used to be known for games like Alpha Protocol, which are really buggy. New Vegas was really buggy, where they have these great things, but they lack polish, and they don't have to be polished to a shine, but like enough to make the game, you know, like enjoyable to play at least, right? Which is something you really saw in the Outer Worlds too. So 2025 was deemed the year of Obsidian. That's because Obsidian launched The Outer Worlds 2, Avowed, as well as Grounded 2, all in a single year. It's very impressive. Now, Schreier here actually went and visited Obsidian Entertainment here. And what we have is a really interesting report on how Obsidian feels about the year of Obsidian. And to kind of put it in simple terms, it's a bit of a lie because it's a marketing twist. And Obsidian isn't necessarily super thrilled about the year they had because of what it actually indicated for them to have 3 games coming out in the same year, but also the sales of those games here. So we're going to go ahead and read parts of this article here because it's Bloomberg and they do have like gifted articles, and then they have also articles you pay for. So I don't know how much we can show, because I remember one time I showed a Game Informer preview in the past, and Game Informer literally reached out. They're like, hey, this will be a problem if you keep doing this. And I'm like, whoa, I'm just doing my job, man. Chill the fuck out. All right. So with that, let's just go through little snippets of the article here. Let's talk about Fergus Urquhart. They said last year, the developer released 3 games, a rare and impressive achievement for a studio of its size, but 2 of them failed to meet the sales forecast by Obsidian parent company Microsoft. They're not disasters, Urquhart said. I'm not going to say this was a kick in the teeth. It's more like, that sucks. What are we learning? Says a day after one of these breakfast gatherings, Urquhart is sitting with a Bloomberg Business Week reporter in a conference room at Obsidian's Irvine, California office on a pleasant, humdrum day. Okay, we don't care about any of that. Let's keep reading here. The company is trying to navigate a shaky games market as well as turmoil in the corner of Microsoft. They talk about the games that they've released since they were acquired, but most importantly, they mention here that while Grounded 2 was a big hit, the disappointing results from the other two have led Obsidian to think a lot about how much we put into the games, how much time we spend on them, and how long they take. Both Avowed and The Outer Worlds 2 were in development for more than 6 years, inflating their production costs and the company's financial expectations. One of Urquhart's missions is to cut down development timelines to 3 or 4 years per title, which, by the way, as a little side note here, if you ask me, that's an ideal window of time. I think more game developers need to embrace that window of time because I want your games to be part of like eras of my life, not like blips on an era of my life. Does that make sense? Like, I think of series I'm really attached to, where I think of franchises I've gone through. BioShock is one. BioShock 1, 2, and Infinite all came out while I was going from like middle school into high school. That was an era of my life, and it's very memorable because it carried me through an era of my life. But if we're having BioShock 1 in 2007, BioShock 2 is in 2015, and BioShock 3 is in 2022, you're like completely missing the window, man. And it's like, I have to always go back and replay the games to remember why I cared about it. So yeah, to say Avowed and Outer Worlds 2 took 6 years each is kind of crazy, because I think with Avowed, you see it in a really bad way. And with Outer Worlds 2, you see it in a kind of good way, but it's unfortunate it didn't pan out here. We'll talk about that a little bit more here. They get into a little bit of how expenses are swelling, growth is stalling, developers are trying to survive, and basically they're trying to build a game that's cheap so that they can have a hit on their hands. So missing a target can be fatal. Obsidian appears to be on relatively firm ground. For divisions of Xbox, sales are just one part of the equation, and RPG tends to gain momentum over time here. Xbox themselves did comment on this, saying Obsidian develops games that are central to our vision of reaching more players than ever before. And they added that the developer demonstrates the creative excellence and range that continues to strengthen Xbox's portfolio. Does this mean anything to me at all when I read Xbox is happy with someone? Absolutely not. I think the reason is very obvious as to why that is the case here. But continuing on here, we know that Obsidian was in Dark Waters back in 2012, and that's actually because, as mentioned here in this report, Microsoft canceled one of its big projects, and it actually forced them into Kickstarter. And this is why they were able to stay afloat, is because of their fans. And funny enough, they would then later go on to sell off to Microsoft. And one of the pitches that they made to Microsoft was Skyrim meets Destiny. And this is what Sawyer had to say about this. I thought this was hilarious. He said, "My first thought when I saw this was, I don't think there's a team on the planet that could execute on this," Josh Sawyer said. 2 years later, Obsidian stripped out the multiplayer, and a year later assigned a new director to the project. By the time Avowed came out, it was in the works for nearly 7 years. So Sawyer saw it immediately, which is why this dude is so valuable. He's a friggin' genius, right? He immediately was like, there's no way we can do this. They ignored that. They went on with it. We saw how Avowed turned out here. Now, continuing on down here at the bottom of the article a little bit more, that the 3 games were all ready to release in 2025 was actually mostly a coincidence. They say releasing them all in one calendar year made for a slick marketing beat called the Year of Obsidian, as Xbox called it, but it also taxed the studio's resources. The group has around 280 employees, far fewer than teams like Larian as well as CD Projekt Red. This is something, by the way, that I've talked about really extensively in the past. I've said so many times that people who treat Obsidian like they're a big AAA team are wrong, because they take this like 200 plus person workforce and they split them up among like 4 projects. And so now you have like AA size teams making these bigger than average games here. But Obsidian support teams were stretched thin, with frazzled staff leaping frantically from one game to the next. Spacing those releases helps the company manage its resources and not burn everyone out, Sawyer says. It's not good to release 3 games in the same year. It's the result of things going wrong. This is why I said that the Year of Obsidian's a bit of a lie, because this is how Obsidian sees it. They're like, we failed as a team. We made bad choices. Development timelines got too long. Sales weren't good. And we had 3 games come out in a year, and everyone was burnt out after the fact. So it's impressive they got 3 games out, that they didn't cancel any of these. Like, Avowed is a game that was a candidate for cancellation, no doubt. Like, we're going to strip the multiplayer out of this thing. Why does it need to exist? So I like that they still gave these games a shot at the end of the day. But I think it's really fascinating to see that it was kind of marked as maybe not exactly a failure, but a learning experience for Obsidian Entertainment. And I hope that's what they do, is learn, because I want them to get back to the top of the mountain here. Now, they talk about a little bit with cutting time out of the development process. What can they do to accomplish that here? Grounded 2 offered some lessons for a better way forward. Obsidian assigned a few senior staff to orchestrate the production in Montreal, 3,000 miles away. For those who don't know why this is the case, because I actually had to remind myself here, Eidos Montreal actually helped out Obsidian Entertainment with making Grounded 2. Obsidian had some major help, writes GameFile, not just with community feedback, but the game is co-developed by Eidos Montreal, who, yes, is behind Deus Ex and Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't know if you call that like rising to the top or falling from grace. But yeah, they are Embracer Studio, or Embracer-owned studio, and we know that they worked on, of course, Perfect Dark at one point in time. But Microsoft, or Morgan, said that Xbox did the studio matchmaking once Obsidian told the organization they were interested in a partner team. Eidos helped flesh out the story as they've also co-designed the game. Sometimes when you put multiple creative teams together, it can kind of create clashes, but this one has gone surprisingly smoothly. So they've had good things to say here, and as documented by Obsidian in an otherwise very transparent article, I believe them when they say that this co-development effort has changed things for them in a positive way here. What they described as an example is they reference the buggies. They say one of the game's vehicles, called buggies, had originally been designed to be shared by multiple players until Parker and his crew realized that functionality wasn't coming together, leading to them to pivot. I was like, if this was one of our internal teams, we would work on this for another 2 or 3 months. We made this call because we could tell them what to do. I feel like we still run around with our kid gloves on internally. Quicker decisions could help Obsidian shorten development timelines, as could more outsourcing, which the company is already embracing. Another shortcut, according to Urquhart, the team plans more frequent reuse of technology on projects instead of, say, building a new animation system for each game. From 2010's Fallout New Vegas, Obsidian used art and technology from Fallout 3. New Vegas ended up costing about $8 million. $8 million. Oh my God. Less than 2 years to make. Fergus says, we don't need to change everything every time. We've had this debate internally. Do people really care that we spent an extra 100-person months on the inventory screen? The answer has always been an emphatic no, in my opinion at least. I get why people would read this and go, uh-oh, are they getting lazy about all this? Like, I don't read this at all. This is smart game development. The game they're most known for was mostly an asset flip. You know, like, think about that. New Vegas is phenomenal, but without Fallout 3, New Vegas can't exist. And New Vegas reuses a ton of stuff from Fallout 3, and that's why the game came together quickly. I don't care that Fallout New Vegas shares the same Pip-Boy menu as Fallout 3. I care that Fallout New Vegas has incredible characters, great storylines, choice and consequence. And so I am totally for the idea of Obsidian saying, hey, we have this great first-person shooting system and dialogue system from the Outer Worlds 2. Can we flip this into something new in like 2.5 years, 3 years? Dude, I'd be all over that. Like, I think that would be really exciting here. The article continues on talking about the kind of next in command here for Obsidian Entertainment. This is Fergus Urquhart, and he's beside 2 people who are basically going to lead the team once he decides to retire, which they talk a bit about. And I hope Fergus stays for a while because he's kind of have to help right the ship. And I think once they right the ship, then he'll peace out here. But one thing they confirmed in this article that I thought was very interesting is something that Microsoft denied. So let's go over here real quickly. Windows Central Gaming covers here that Xbox created a 30% profit margin target here. This came from Bloomberg reporters Dina Bass and Jason Schreier, who said that Microsoft CFO Amy Hood is asking Xbox to meet an accountability margin of 30%, which is far, far in excess. What it's been described as with the norm was like 17 to 22%. Now, when this news broke, Xbox did their thing. Microsoft did their thing. They lied. What did they lie about? Let's read what CNBC had to say. The company reportedly is asking its gaming division in 2023 to target profit margins of 30%, according to Bloomberg, which cited people familiar in the matter. The goal is a significant jump from the 12% margin that was originally set in 2022, and it's above the average in the industry of 17 to 22%. Microsoft told CNBC that while the company does set its ambitious goals, the reported 30% profit margin target was incorrect. Well, this is about to get really awkward because now we have a first-party studio that's confirming it, right? Okay. So, with revenue growth flat, console sales declining, and Microsoft's priorities shifting to artificial intelligence, the company has put Xbox under new financial scrutiny, enacting an ambitious 30% profit margin target for many of its studios, Bloomberg's News had reported. Okay. The pressure has led to the Xbox team to publish many of its games on PlayStation platforms. We just saw, by the way, of course, Avowed just is jumping over to PlayStation this coming month here. But for Obsidian, the targets don't seem unfeasible as long as they can continue experimenting. Pentiment in 2022 was cheap to make, critically acclaimed, niche, but still profitable. The hope, Urquhart says, is that Xbox continues to fund riskier projects and values achievements besides strong sales, even if that means accepting that maybe where we are going from a profitability standpoint isn't going to be 30%. I thought that was not correct, Xbox. I thought that we weren't doing 30% profit margins here. Okay, well, I guess that's a thing. And Obsidian being subject to that, now they're between a rock and the hard place. Now they're making these tough decisions. And we're going to get into a key tough decision here, which is about The Outer Worlds versus Avowed. So let's wrap up this article and look a little bit around the industry here. During recent breakfast meetings, Urquhart and his deputies discussed some things they could have done better with last year's releases. Perhaps Avowed players needed the option to say, commit crimes, get arrested, and make the world feel more alive. Maybe The Outer Worlds 2 needed stronger virtual companions. God, yes. It's like if the companions in Outer Worlds 2 were great, I think this game would have been like all over the place. People would have been like, you got to play it, but it's just that second half of the game driving it into the companions. It was such a mistake because it's such a good game, but just it's got its problems for sure. Our job here is for all of us to go and make the games people want to play and buy. And if we do that, then we have a solid business. True. It's simple. It's easy. Obsidian's plan for the next few years is to work on projects big and small, completely new games and added content for The Outer Worlds 2 and Grounded 2, and space out their releases. So no more year of Obsidian. It isn't working on a third Outer Worlds game, but does plan on making games in the Avowed universe. Although the studio remains proud of what it accomplished in 2025, it's safe to say Urquhart and his team hope to never repeat the year of Obsidian. Okay. Very powerful ending there. Very poetic. So, Avowed being the future of Obsidian, of course I have thoughts on this one. Chris Avellone was kind of the head of this conversation here. You'll see her in this tweet of his that apparently, aside from DLC plans for The Outer Worlds 2, it seems like Obsidian is making no plans for Outer Worlds 3, but they are doing Avowed 2. So, yeah, when Legacy Kill has said that that's wild considering Avowed isn't very good, Avellone said, based on a recent article, I don't think they had a choice in changing their tune. The idea a number of staff wouldn't want to work on Fallout is an unusual claim unless, again, you have no choice. So that was the reason why this was taken with a grain of salt, is because people thought, did Chris read something and he was responding to it? Or did Chris, who formerly worked at Obsidian, was one of the higher ups there, did he have inside information? So now we see that that was correct, that Outer Worlds 3 is out the window and Avowed 2 is the plan. Okay, I get this decision because Outer Worlds 1 sold over 5 million copies, right? And when the Outer Worlds 2 seemingly barely crawls across 1 million, if that, that's a staggering fall off where you wonder if Outer Worlds 3 would go above that number, even if they addressed all the concerns the Outer Worlds 1 had. Or 2 had, sorry. Messing up my numbers here. So with that in mind, I get why they look at something like, say, Avowed and go, the ceiling's higher here because we have something that can grow and the complaints that we address might bring more people in and we may have a hit on our hands. Now, Avowed was a controversial game release here. When you look at the Metascore for it, it's fine. It's an 80. And that's kind of what I described in my review as. It's fine. I found it pretty disappointing in a lot of ways, but it's an okay game for an otherwise storied RPG developer. The user score, while not something you should really lean into heavily, is mixed on Metacritic, and over on Steam here, you can see that it's at 75%, so it's mostly positive. The peak player count on Steam was 19K, whereas something like Outer Worlds 2, you'll see was in a similar boat of 18K. Now, in my opinion, Outer Worlds 2 is a far better video game than Avowed. So it's a real shame that we're not going to see more of the Outer Worlds. Because again, I think of the faction storyline involving Auntie Cleo's Auntie's Choice in Outer Worlds 2. It's phenomenal. Like, it's really like, this is the Obsidian I came here for. And I think a lot of the game is like that. Avowed is terribly written. I think the combat is dramatically oversold because it's easy to break. And a lot of its key features, like using your spells to explore the environment, I think were undercooked. And the companions are more forgettable than what Outer Worlds 2 put up. And Outer Worlds 2 put up some pretty forgettable companions. So I look at this and I think to myself, why is Obsidian doing this? I think the natural response I have after reading this article is that the asset flip might be a little bit easier for Avowed. And that's the concern I have. When I read something like Obsidian saying, hey, we want to take 3 to 4 years to make something, that sounds good to me. But when they talk about, hey, like this profit margins exist, you probably want to make something cheap then, right? If you have to hit 30%. And if it's an established series that's getting a sequel like Avowed, and you can asset flip and make something bigger and better quicker, maybe you could hit those profit margins easier. But would the logical choice actually be to make an Outer Worlds 3? I don't know. It's a tough call to make. I don't envy their position whatsoever. I'm glad it's not considered to them like a knockout punch, but more like a kick to the gut, saying like, oh man, like we really messed up there. What do we learn from this? Obviously, 6 to 7 year development timelines are never ideal. So it seems to me like this decision could be as simple as, yeah, we can make Outer Worlds 3, but Outer Worlds 2 was very complex. If you look at its dialogue system that I showed, like NPCs are constantly remembering what you're saying, your character is registering what they're saying. Dialogue trees are all over the place, so explosive, so large, so jaw-droppingly deep. Tons of skill checks, choice and consequence in a lot of places, right? Avowed is very much right down the middle. Explore this world, fight and kill things. And you have an ending that can kind of go in a few different ways. It's really underwhelming. But it might just be easier to make that. And because it's easier to make that, it might be cheaper. So I'm a little bit skeptical about the choices. But seeing sort of the truth behind the year of Obsidian and how it actually was a year that's kind of marked as a learning experience for them is interesting. And for me, as someone who was kind of teetering on the edge after Avowed, thought Grounded 2 was solid, and then thought The Outer Worlds 2 was great enough to kind of win back my faith, I'm like, okay, this is a team that's shown that they can learn, and I'm excited for their future. I just hope if they're going to commit to Avowed 2, man, take the writers from Outer Worlds 2 and put them on this project for the love of God, because at least you stand a better chance there. Avowed was mired in controversy from politics. You got Elon Musk involved. It was mired in game controversy. Like, dude, they fucking were saying 60 FPS didn't matter in a first-person game. What first-person game have we played where that frame rate doesn't matter? They were just shooting themselves. Like, they loaded the gun. It was like, pop, 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 pop. How many more rounds are left in this thing? 2 more? Pop, pop. They just kept going. So I hope they get out of their own way if they're going to do an Avowed 2, because to me, committing to that is dangerous. That game's already set for an uphill climb. Like, people already have it marked. Crosshairs are on it. Like, okay, we're going to take that one down. Why you would walk into that in today's climate is beyond me. But hopefully you can overturn doubters who are sincere about their criticism when it comes to Avowed. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what is going on with Obsidian Entertainment. Best of luck to them. Again, one of my favorite teams. Really hope that they can turn around and overcome pretty tough circumstances, both internally and in the Microsoft culture. All right, Chad, how are we feeling? Let's see here. We got some super chats as well. I won't miss them this time, I promise. Iron Rook, I know you're not giving any details or showing anything on your game anytime soon, but you have an ETA on when you will. The curiosity. We do know when we want to release. I won't say when. We know when we want to release, and because of that, I know when I want to reveal. But I won't say more than that. I want it to be a surprise. Starfield mod shoutouts from One Pump Man. Excursion Zero Atmosphere, Real Fuel. That was like a tongue twister for me. Slow Travel, POI, Rotationism, and Jupiter Balance. Whoa. Okay, I'll look into these. Yeah, dude, I want to love Starfield so much. Favorite Complete Blocks PlayStation 1 game. Metal Gear Solid 1 is up there. Good super chat there, Spry. Like that question. Spreza says, we need to give up on Microsoft. They don't care about their studios, their developers, their output. It's over. Yeah, like I don't see this being a great situation for Obsidian, where I think they could fly true on their own and do pretty well. But, you know, under Microsoft, where you have to think about 30% profit margins, that definitely plays a factor into influencing your decisions. What's up? Never Stop Fallout. Great to see you, man. Exactly, Satchel. He says, I'm scared. I just want them to be okay. I love Obsidian and would hate for them to be creatively constrained or worse, shut down. I don't think they're close to a shutdown, but I think they're in the position they were in 2012. I think they're like 1 or 2 misses from a shutdown. And given that this year they missed twice, I mean, I guess at least what this kind of sets them up for is like, if they underperformed sales metrics, does Xbox look at that and like they're a target for layoffs? Like they got to put up on their big time performance, which is why I'm like, why are you doing Avowed 2? That's like I don't know, man. Dangerous call. But being creatively constrained is not going to be good for their games. And that's exactly the environment they're in. Yeah, and it isn't just pushing the profit margins, it's getting the games out in a timely manner. That too, right? So it's like, yeah, we could maybe stand a chance. You never know how much money you're going to make, right? But it's like, maybe there's a chance it'll make more money if you make a great game, but sometimes great games take a long time. And so it's like Xbox basically wants their cake and to eat it too. And I don't think they can have it. Sorry, guys. I'm just getting up the links for our next story here. Mr. Nichols, I did see the Rangers lose. That has become a very common thing. They lose a lot. They're actually more awful than I could ever imagine. Hey, I'm seeing now we're still sitting at close to 2K strong. I appreciate you guys hanging out, man. This has been awesome. This is like, love seeing the chat really active and just seeing you guys enjoy the show, man. Like I can't say enough. I'm probably a broken record. I love doing this so much, man. It's not even about like the super chats or anything. Like just the feeling of community is like something I really, my soul needed. Like I needed you guys. Like I don't know how else to put it, man. It sounds really parasocial, but like I really needed you guys. So I'm really thankful for you being here, man. This is like just hanging out with you guys is so much fun. It's like almost like addicting where I'm like, on the weekends, I'm like, oh, what if I just like went live? Wouldn't that be fucking crazy? But I don't want to overdo it, right? I want to make sure it's a thing I get to look forward to and enjoy. So I'm just really happy to have you guys here, man. And just whether you have me on in the background or you're just, watching attentively, whatever it may be, man. Thank you. Just again, really, really just love doing this, man. Hey, don't call me a nerd. Come on. Let me be a little sentimental, goddammit. Will be here whether you trash Starfield or not. I wouldn't say I'm trashing it, guys. I'm just I try to be fair, like I can't sit here and say like, even though I like Starfield, that the game doesn't have a ton of problems. We got a couple super chats here. Maddie, become a millionaire and resurrect Dragon Age. Yeah, man. I mean, I'd love to do an Origins follow-up. That's why actually I'm really looking forward to this game next here. Hold on. Let's pull it up. Let's pull it up. I don't know. The community seems very divided on this one here, but I'm really interested in Greedfall 2 here. They're literally taking like I reviewed Greedfall 1. I played like 70 hours of Greedfall 1. But they're taking the action combat from that game and basically turning it into Dragon Age Origins. And the early access stuff for Greedfall hasn't been great, but I don't know, man. As someone who's like a huge BioWare fan and Spiders has openly said like, yeah, we really want to replace BioWare. I look at this and I'm like, dude, fuck yeah. So that's my early answer while I wait to become a millionaire. Is that's a game that you could play. The Demetrish, dude, your name, man, that's a tough name to say. I got to tell you, I love the Valve. Once I turned down the difficulty, I felt like a storm wizard shocking everyone in the vicinity. I felt like the Outer Worlds 2 was okay. The first one was more fun. I think the second one was more fun. I think the first one was more interesting after, like, collectively. Avowed, everyone who loves Avowed's combat played as a mage. I played as a warrior and I messed around as a mage. And I think just the combat is really easy to break in that game. And that's my big problem with it. So, yeah, man, like I get where Avowed fans are coming from, ultimately. I do understand. I missed a super chat here. I'm trying to get to the other one. Veilguard was better in Avowed, says Nexter. I was talking about that with Lockmort, and here's the thing I do sort of agree with is that I don't like either game, but Veilguard did give me like 3 moments I can think of that I did like a lot. And the pain with Veilguard for me was especially once you got to the finale, which was great. It was like, oh my guys, where was this? You know, and so after 70 hours, 2 hours of great stuff isn't enough to overturn it, but it is enough to cause this like internal strife where you're like, dude, so they're still capable. They still got that beast in them somewhere. Maybe. It's such a shame. So yeah, I think I like Veilguard a little bit more than Avowed 2, ultimately. Like Veilguard is memorable in these story ways, I should say. Veilguard's story moments, I have a couple that I pick out that I value a lot. Morgan's interaction, the one with the Elven God, the finale. Like there's some good stuff in there. But otherwise, I fucking hate Veilguard. It's like one of the worst RPGs I've ever played. Avowed, though, is so vanilla and boring that I can't wrap my head around any of its characters or anything. I just have nothing to attach myself to. Okay, here's the super chat I missed. Do you also feel like the success of ex-Bioware RPGs came from their controlled open world scale instead of going fully unnecessarily open world? Vassell, absolutely. Yeah, like I think controlled open world scale and hub areas is what I call them is like the key to a really great RPG. And I think when they go open world, there's too much that can change, too much to keep track of. There's always a sacrifice. And so that's why you see open world games, when they make you do choice and consequence, it affects a very contained part of the map. So the methodology, the thinking of, and the design philosophy behind it is still the same. It's just on a bigger play space. So yeah, I think that ultimately the open world stuff does hurt big RPGs. Not gonna lie, I would have bought all Obsidian games if companions were romanceable. That's something that, so this is something that might be encouraging with what they're saying is they just have taken as like, we need to make great games that people want to buy. And people have asked about Obsidian Romance for a while, and COG actually interviewed the directors of Outer Worlds 2, and they said that they hear the complaints and they understand. And so whether it's an update for the Outer Worlds 2 or something that they are going to add for their future games, I think Obsidian will be doing Romance finally. Hey, Vault Dweller. Let's go. Huge support there. Thank you for giving us some extra members. Appreciate you a lot, man. Thank you. Love the support in the community here, man. Let's build something. Comrade, I agree. The high-level concepts and plot lines of Veilguard are interesting, but the delivery and tone fell flat. And fuck Tosh. Yeah. Tosh is just... Yeah. Man. Let's not even get into it. Because I'm not going in the direction that I see a lot of people going with Tosh. So that's all I'll say. I go in the direction of like the writing style. But I know where other people go with it is like, let's not invite all that shit in. But yeah. Not a great character. Maddie, you were missing out on the Remedy verse for Alan Wake 2. I know. That's like one of my biggest blind spots in gaming. I'm so behind on the Remedy verse. It's that and Yakuza. I played Kiwami 1, 2. I've played Like a Dragon. But like those are the two series, like Remedyverse and Yakuza, that I really want to get behind on. No, you can't make me do this, bro. I could not. If there's one person on this planet I could not punch in the face, it would be Jake. Even a pretend punch. Like, I just couldn't do that. Jake's the homie, bro. I could not. I love Jake, dude. Now, if Jake was my tag team partner, that's a different story. That's a completely different story. Eternal Deity, yes. Very interested in Requiem. I'm playing all the Resident Evil games in lead up to that one. Uncharted Wolf, come on. My Like a Dragon take, I think, is very fair. I think a lot of new fans entered the series then, and Ichibum is a shitty protagonist. And that's all there is to it. If you're a fan of the David Lynch play... Oh, you're speaking my language, really? What's your biggest holy grail in your gaming collection right now? I didn't buy it with the intent of it being a holy grail, but the Analog Pocket kind of feels like one. It kind of just like, because they get such little production, or so little units produced, I should say, that it's really tough to get your hands on one without paying like a premium from what I've seen. And so that's one that, yeah, like that and the dock, I have both of them. And I got the dock when it was $100, which was already too much money. Love the channel, Maddie. Hello from Scotland. Whoa, we're global today, y'all. We got a lot of people from all different parts of the world. This is awesome. I like Jake because we have the same name. I don't like the constant empty promises of pizza, though. He'll deliver one day. Pizza's on him. We know how it goes. Been watching since Fallout 4. Always enjoyed the content. Was just able to join anything big. Careful what you wish for. I'm kidding. I mean, we talked about the Fallout 3 remaster rumors. That's at the first part of our stream. We talked about Obsidian stuff. That was also pretty big. But anything else here? Yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about Highguard in a little bit here because it's had an interesting post-launch run in the week leading, the week after its release. So I want to talk about that. And we got a few other stories here. We're going to talk censorship. We're going to talk AI. It's going to be fun. I've been watching your content for years, man. Growing up with Bethesda commentary. Stay sexy, stay active, and looking forward to your game project. Thank you. Thank you, dude. Appreciate you. I'm very excited to share that with all of you when the time comes. But until then, we'll continue doing our commentary thing, the thing you all know me for. Shake my head. Obsidian, nobody wants to talk about it with the female CEO. We're not going to go there, bro. I appreciate your super chat, but we're not going to go there. Thank you, though. All right, let's get into the news here today. We have a couple more stories left that I want to run through with you guys. This next one here, yeah, you guys can laugh. I'm just like, we're not going to get into this, guys. We're not going to culture war on my fucking channel. Sorry, go on Twitter. That's with all due respect. That's the place for that shit. I'm not doing it here. Who'd you romance in KCD 2? I romanced Catherine. How could you not? That shit was a gooner ass game. That's all I'll say. But honestly, I slept with a ton of people as Henry, now that I think about it. There was also that romance that you could do in KCD2 in the first part of the game, the first map. And when you sleep with her, if you talk to her, she'll like make fun of Henry's dick size. It's fucking hilarious, dude. Ari Amber, thank you for becoming a member. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into our next bit of news here. I want to talk to you all about Highguard. Yes, your game of the year for 2026. Doesn't matter that we're very early in the year. It's been decided. Now, Highguard launched. I did my own thoughts on the game and said that it's kind of a nothing game. Like, I think people who are extremely angry at Highguard, I don't see what there is to be super pissed off about. And people who are super hyped on the game and saying, like, this is the next big thing, Jeff Keighley, I don't really get where y'all are coming from either. It is a very middle-of-the-road first-person shooter that's not really doing anything tremendous. However, one thing they're doing that is quite tremendous is listening to their community. So they posted here, you asked, we listened, all new 5v5 limited time game mode, playable now. One of my biggest complaints was that the map just felt really empty for Highguard and that they needed to have more players, more activity, more action here. And what actually ended up happening here is they said at first it's experimental. It's with longer respawns during raids, and it's not meant to replace threes. However, as expected, this ended up becoming a permanent mode. They said, you've been asking, and we're happy to share. 5v5 raid mode is here to stay. Pardon me. We appreciate everyone hopping in over the weekend to give the mode a try. We saw a fairly even split between 3v3 and 5v5, which helped inform our decision. So this is actually the benefit of Highguard Studio self-publishing and being a smaller team, is that they can make these decisions quicker, and this can be a very positive sign for the game. Actually, if you look at Highguard on Steam right now, it's reached mixed. Not really a review score that you're going to sit here and like rave about and go, yeah, we're mixed on Steam. But when you start off as overwhelmingly negative and you've already reached mixed, you can see that people who are genuinely enjoying the game are starting to filter out a lot of the review bombing that happened with the game's launch. Now, despite all of this, the player count hasn't really crawled up much at all. Its 24-hour peak is still sub 10K. It's at 5K players right now. And that's a far cry away from its 97K player peak here. I think ultimately, even with the player count thing being a whole conversation we'll have, what you're seeing here is just not like enough to, I think, back the game in a heavy way where it's going to have this long life. But here's the interesting part. Highguard Studio isn't concerned with occurring a massive player count on launch day. I saw this and my jaw hit the floor. I'm not trying to be dramatic, but I saw this and went, really? Your multiplayer game doesn't need a massive player count? Am I reading that right? Let's read together and talk about this. Say, one of the developers behind Highguard said the concurrent player count for the new first-person shooter doesn't need to be super high in order to be successful. As Highguard launches, previews are rolling out. A flurry of interviews with the game's developers are also revealing more about the game now that it's in players' hands. Lead designer Mohamed Alavi shared the aforementioned sentiment about the player count in a group interview by PC Gamer, saying that Highguard finding a core passionate community that can grow is more important. Honestly, we don't need player counts to be super huge in order to be successful, he explained. We're a small team. A 6-player match, Highguard's max player count at launch, is not hard to find. What we're really hoping for is a core group of fans that love us. By the way, this right here, already out the window, because now you're up to 5v5. Anyway, that allows to grow. Being the eye of the internet hate machine sucks, but at the same time, I just try to focus on making the best game I can and getting that game into people's hands. At the end of the day, that's all that really matters here. So we have a player count that's low, and we have the developer saying, well, we don't really need a massive player count. So the question I'm asking is, do you look at this number and go, okay, times this by 3 across all the platforms? Is that enough to keep Highguard afloat? Because to be fair, we put a lot of stock into Steam player count, rightfully so. It's one of the biggest gaming platforms, and it's usually indicative of a game's success or failure. There's just a constant overlap there. But some games are bigger on consoles. And also, we don't have visibility on PlayStation numbers and Xbox numbers where they might be in the 15,000s, the 20,000s compared to Steam's 8K 24-hour peak. And obviously, it goes over the course of a whole week here, but the chart is very telling, right? Where you can see where it launched and how that player count just kept going up, and they launched the new mode, and it went back down. And so the good news for them is that people responded well to the new mode. Reviews came in a lot more positively. People felt that it was a good sign that they were addressing this criticism quickly, and maybe they can keep doing that. But also, player count didn't really see a massive bump here. Now, there was also some other interesting bits of fallout here from Highguard. One was that when the game was announced, it was told to us, this is from the creators of Apex Legends and Titanfall. As GameSpot has documented here, they removed the mentioning of this game from the Steam page. And if you look here, it now just says Highguard is a PvP raid shooter where players will ride, fight, and raid as wardens or king gunslingers sent to fight for control of a mythical continent. There is no longer any mention of the games that they had a history of working on. Now, whether this was because EA reached out and said like, hey, your game's not going over too well, people are going to think it's from us, we don't like that, or they felt they were doing damage to their developer friends, whatever it may be, I don't know what happened there, but they removed it in light of the game getting tragged. And so I think that does say a little bit of something. Now, in response to this launch, they say ultimately we could have made a different trailer here. Because as we know, the trailer launched and things went pretty bad from there. So speaking with Hot Wild Late at a hands-on event in Los Angeles last week, several Highguard devs admitted they wished the reveal had gone down differently, but made it clear that the mixed reception didn't alter their release plans. Say, look, I wish Highguard had been received better. I wish the feedback had been better. The CEO and founder, Dusty Welch, told PC Gamer. That part is on us, right? We didn't put our heads in the sand. We as a team saw the feedback. We're gamers ourselves. We're online ourselves reading the feedback. I think ultimately we could have made a different trailer, a better trailer that wasn't about entertaining, which is what we think the Game Awards was about. We could have made something that did a better job of highlighting the unique loop of the game. So that's on us. We take that, but the team is resilient. So this is just like bad management, in my opinion, because I read this and I think to myself, your thought process was to make an entertaining trailer for a game that's launching in like 7 weeks, not something that's going to sell the game. So yeah, that's just a tremendous mistake unto its own. I think the launch trailer for Highguard, by the way, was a lot better than what the reveal trailer was. I don't know if it would have changed things because, like, for example, John Highguard here was the center of a lot of criticism. And so, that obviously doesn't go away when you show a trailer from like a different angle. You still have those same characters, which I think was a big talking point there. Now, as you saw here, we got This Week in Video Games. Shout out to the homie Skill Up. Great website. By the way, as someone who like writes a show every week for Defining Duke, I do it on my iPad sometimes. And all these other websites that I've gone through here are bogged down by ads. The only website that works smoothly on my iPad is This Week in Video Games because it's completely fan supported. So shout out to Skill Up. Runs a great site here with the rest of his team. Definitely go support them. So they have the headline here. Wildlight CEO calls the toxicity around Highguard challenging. Speaking to Bloomberg's Jason Schreier, Welch stated that the development team initially planned to shadow drop Highguard before the Game Awards approached, and said, what about a reveal? We didn't do a great job with our trailer. We own that. And then when asked if the team would have unveiled and launched Highguard differently, they say it was an incredibly fair question, one I asked myself quite a bit. It's one that I'm going to continue to ask myself for a period of time. Was there a different way? Was there a better way? And I don't know the answer to that yet today. The toxicity is challenging, and it's debatable whether we would have had more or less or the same by doing the Game Awards. I don't know. We'll never know the answer to that. But I think that it's an angle that has to be considered going forward for anyone in game development. And yeah, I mean, that's got to keep you up at night a little bit, because it just seems like one of the main things that got the Highguard is like, what does this game do if it's in the middle of the show? We always talked about that. If it's in the middle of the Game Awards, is it just not even a blip on anyone's radar and it's just sent out to fail? While this player count that we're seeing here is really low, in my opinion, do they look at this and go, honestly, there's a world where we reveal this halfway through the Game Awards and we're at like 100 players. But because of all of the notoriety surrounding the game, it got a little something. And obviously with all of the hate, it became a center point of a conversation here. A center point that made headlines as well. IGN takes the quote, when did it become trendy to hate on a new video game? And developers were kind of leaping to the defense of what Highguard was going through here. Obviously we know Jeff Keighley was at the center of it all. Jeff Keighley, obviously, his taste is questionable for some after everything that happened involving Highguard, but you can't say the guy isn't a good sport and takes the criticism on the chin, which he does every year. He does, in fairness, tweet out after every Game Awards, like, what would you rate it? Let's go through the feedback. What would you do to improve it? And he takes it. And I think in a lot of his shows, recently at least, these last two Game Awards, I think have been pretty good, at least in the reveal department. Now, one of the developers that did leap to the defense of what was happening with Highguard was Sven Vinke. He says, I don't like people shitting on things others have created. Putting something out into the world makes you vulnerable, and that alone deserves respect, even if you dislike the creation. It's easy to destroy things. It's a lot harder to build them. The best critics understand this. Even when they're being critical, they are doing their best to not be hurtful. And a lot of people took this the wrong way. I mean, Sven's been getting into a little bit of trouble on Twitter, everything between like talking about Gen AI on Twitter to this stuff. And so he did follow this up saying that he needs to learn to weigh his words more carefully. He's trying to make a constructive argument, and he talks about how reviewers are valuable, basically because like he'll take his story and stuff to reviewers internally, who once did work in, like, for Kevin Van Ord, for example, was a reviewer at GameSpot, and he now is a lead writer at Larian. And so I imagine he's one of the people that Sven will go to internally and say like, hey, what do you think of this? Because as a reviewer, you have a way of like picking apart why something doesn't work and conveying that to the developer so they can take that feedback and make a better game next time. Having that internally is obviously a major bonus here. But he talks a little bit about the point wasn't the issue with the criticism. My point was that it doesn't need to be hurtful. In my honest opinion, that creates alienation between people who have the same hobby and essentially all want the same thing. Better games. Constructive criticism really has a higher impact. And without going through the entire tweet here, because as you can see here, it's a novel. I agree with a lot of what he says here in that constructive criticism is a lot more impactful. I always try to tell people like the outrage needs to be more selective nowadays, because what developers and companies are starting to do is if these are the blinds, they're closing them on you because you're angry about everything. And I think, for example, we'll probably see this happen with the Fallout Countdown later today and into the rest of the week. Why didn't fucking Bethesda do anything? Why is there no remaster? Why are people freaking out? When I don't think the freak out is really entirely warranted, with so many people also seeing that nothing's going to happen with the Fallout 3 remaster. So I look at that sort of stuff and I think to myself, yeah, when the outrage is constant rather than selective, the message struggles to get through, because you can't read whether it's we're just pissed about everything or we're actually pissed about this, and that becomes hard for a developer to read and take meaningful feedback from. And then some developers handle even that wrong, because within the noise is meaningful criticism that they have to pay attention to. And some developers just ignore all of it and trust themselves, which can sometimes work out, but most times doesn't, because the fans are the ones who are speaking and telling you exactly what they want and they're best listened to here. So that's the situation with Highguard a week later here, man. It's a lot. Everything from a low player count all the way to them saying that kind of doesn't matter, to a 5v5 mode that's turned the game around, to mixed reviews, and developers standing up and protecting this thing, and it's fighting through some toxicity. Ultimately, I still kind of stand by my opinion that I don't think this game will see a very long shelf life. I think the best chance it's got, though, is that it is self-funded, self-published, so it can make choices and moves quicker. It's got a player base and attention to it. There's a lot of people who really want to support this and make this thing great, but I just can't help but look at this player count and think to myself, what can they do to get this up outside of like overhauling core issues that people are going to have a tough time getting over? And I'm talking about things like art style. What modes could they introduce that would bring people in? I feel like multiplayer games now, you drop in and sort of what you start with needs to be a healthy base to grow from. It's really hard to grow from 10K people, or we'll say 20K to be fair across other platforms, maybe 30. So they've got something. If that's enough, good on them. That's great. That's maybe ideal, because then it's easy to maybe find double that player count at some point in time. But they have an uphill battle as well, which a lot of companies in this industry do. And so we'll see where Highguard ends up. But that's the story right now for them a week later. Why is someone asking in chat if I hate Sven? I fucking love Sven Vinky. Come on now. All right, guys. How are we feeling about the story there? Highguard in a dubious position. Console numbers may be even lower. Yeah, I'm giving generous console numbers. Like I'm saying if it's the same as Steam or higher. It depends also what discoverability on consoles is like. It's not very high. So people who may be interested in Highguard might not even be able to see it. Turtle, this is a right here. This is see, Turtle, I don't like that. Turtle's message. He said, "What the hell are you drinking? What does an orange drink remind you of?" Right? This could just be simple as orange juice. Is that like if someone in the morning is like, I'm drinking orange juice, do you hit them with a what the hell? Right? That's not a what. I'm not drinking a what the hell drink. Last week I would hear it, right? I was drinking something that was green. But Turtle, I'm going to defend myself here. This is orange and carrot juice mixed together. Freshly squeezed by yours truly. Right from the juicer into a cup. It's quite good. Crack in liquid form. Freshly squeezed Rad Roach, we'll take that. That's too orange. This is not too orange. I mean, it's pure, but can we be honest with ourselves? This isn't too orange, is it? It just looks so strange. Does it really like... Maybe it's because, I don't know, it's freshly squeezed, so maybe it's a little less diluted. Remember what I said about selective outrage? I'm not going to take your juice criticism seriously all of a sudden. I'm going to be like, okay, they're going to complain about all my juice. If you want me to put better things in my body, start being selectively pissed off at me. Juicing Pete Cheeto Puffs. Hey, that's a good idea. Don't tempt me. Ooh, actually, that sounds disgusting. Can you imagine? It is vibrant. Yeah. And to be fair, I don't have a camera with like any vibrancy settings on. So, this is straight up just orange as fuck. Flintstone chewables. I juiced the Flintstone chewables. It's so good. Oh, thank you for the love on the Retro Rebound video, Chancellor. I appreciate that. Yeah, the PS4 one was a little impromptu. It wasn't the original plan. But I'm glad I made it. I'm glad Scott the Woz made the video to kind of make me think, I want to talk about this too. Coriolet says, just have like 7 juices next time. You know what's so funny? I almost took this carrot and orange juice, and then we have a cherry pomegranate juice, right? So it's pomegranates and cherry mixed together, and I almost mixed both of those into one drink. Just saying, bro. So it's a Trump bathwater. That's fucking crazy, dude. That's crazy. This next story is a fun one, man. I'm excited to dive into this. Well, hey, guys, you know me. I always got 2 drinks. Don't worry. I always got a little water on me. What happened to Marathon? Is it still coming out free to play or what? We have Marathon on the list. I don't know if I will get to it today. We're actually moving through pretty steadily here. And so I might actually be able to talk a little bit about Marathon today. But it's a game that seems to have overcome its cancellation mostly. Like the hate is definitely less. It's like more, I should not say less louder. It's more muted compared to where it was because they've addressed a lot of the criticism for the game. I don't think Mason Jar helps the orange bee. Look, man, you know me. I'm Mr. Mason Jar Plays. We always got Mason jars in this household. So good. Love my mixture of liquids. Enough other bad shit happened between now and the plagiarism fiasco that Bungie might actually come out okay. Yeah, that's true. Like, there's been enough disastrous shit that people are like, well, you kind of just copied a whole art style. I guess that's not that bad. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll talk Marathon today if we got the time to. Right now, we're doing good on time, so. Maddie, be careful. So I'm risking it all, man. If I was really feeling dangerous, I'd like pour these in my mouth at the same time, but I won't do that. I love the Tony Hawk Pro Skater series, man. Yeah, good question. No, I love Tony Hawk. I haven't played 3 and 4 remake though. Thoughts on Odyssey? I actually haven't watched like the trailer in full for it, but I'm excited for it. Love a Nolan movie, so I'm excited for that one. Scatman complimented the shirt. Thank you. I was so happy when I found this at a thrift store, man. So happy. Hey, if Mason Jar ever wanted to sponsor me, I would totally do that. 1,000%. Without a doubt. But they're low-key drinking the same stuff they used in the Vegas filter. Hey, man, you wonder how they get the HUD all orange. Simple as that. Thank you, Brandon, for your super chat. I appreciate you. I also appreciate you, Cha-Cha. What do we got here? Do you think Steam Machine will be a genuine couch and controller console-like alternative to the PlayStation and Xbox? Alternative to me says, like, it'll be a competitor. I don't know if it'll be a competitor, but I think it'll get people, you know, into their living room playing PC-style experiences. Yeah, for sure. I think it'll do that. I think also it'll depend on the price tag. Valve has kind of gone quiet after I thought we'd know about the Steam Machine by now. Jay, I appreciate you. Thank you for your love on the shirt, man. Bowie says, will Morrowind ever get a remake or remaster? Do we have to wait for Skywind? I think you got to wait for Skywind. Especially after what a former Bethesda... That'll be one of the videos this week. We're going to talk a bit about what Bethesda... ex-Bethesda developers said on what was happening with Morrowind and a remake and sort of what that would require. I should really reach out. If I can find a contact to some of these ex-Bethesda developers, I should really reach out to them for like, hang on. I just had a great video idea. I should reach out to some of these ex-Bethesda devs, which is the hardest part of this. That and then them being willing to talk to me. But wouldn't it be interesting to kind of sit down and interview them all and make like a big video just talking about like what ex-Bethesda developers feel about Bethesda today? You know, I'm connected with enough ex-Bethesda devs where at least 5 of them. So it'd be very interesting to see if I can get into contact with some of them. And that would be a really interesting video. I'm going to write that shit down. Hang on. Trying to remember everyone's names. Okay. All right. Don't know if I'll be able to get that done, but I will start trying to reach out. Thank you, Buies, for tickling my brain in the right way, man. All right. Who's ready for another news story? Oh, well, not yet. I just got 2 super chats at once. What the fuck? Thank you, guys. Brendan Lucas says, I didn't get the Elder Scrolls 6 heebie-jeebies like most until that Bethesda dev who was literally the Elder Scrolls lore expert leaving and saying the ominous things about it. Yeah, like, I think that felt like a very... Is validating the right word? Like, I had concerns, but I was like, I am willing to give Bethesda, not the benefit of the doubt, but like, I'll wait and see, to now I'm sort of like, pulled the plug on my hype, and I'm like, okay, like, I got to see something special to be like overturned now, because it just... with their recent products plus what their ex-developers are saying, it becomes a point of genuine concern. Morrowind is the greatest game of all time. I could tell you exactly how to remake it / modernize it as a super fan without sacrificing its soul. Well, by all means, bro, stage is yours. Would love to hear it. I think for me, you know, the thing I'd be interested to get your thoughts on, Rook, is the, and by the way, this is not me asking you for another super chat. You can just text me. But I think one way that they would have trouble modernizing it is if the combat was the same. But if you remove that, then you remove all the stat grinding and stuff that makes the combat kind of interesting and actually make the game an RPG. So I'd be keen to see what your solution on that is. Satchel asks, what do you think would be more likely to get revealed first, Persona 6 or Half-Life 3? Honestly, the way rumors are trending, Half-Life 3 might get revealed first. All right, let's get into, I'll catch up on any super chats that hit in the meantime here. Let me get going here on this news story here. This is a game I have yet to play, so I'll be curious what the chat has to say about it. But it is one that I have in my Steam library. All right, let's talk about Dispatch, ladies and gentlemen. So this game comes out, and in a world where Telltale experiences were said that they could never succeed, right? We saw like Telltale do their thing. Life is Strange did its thing like one time, and somehow that series is still around, even though it feels like there's never been a new entry in the series that succeeded as much as the first one. But then comes Dispatch with like a Hollywood cast, and it's just really exciting. It does really well. It sells really well. It had a week-to-week release. People really loved it. Well, it finally came to Switch, and it's censored. And this is a shame, because this is a game that I actually would have bought a second time, because I think playing it on Switch would feel really at home, since there's no real like heavy gameplay elements here. When it released on Switch, though, it has not been a simple launch for them. And no, we're not talking stinky Switch. We're talking censorship. So Dispatch is censored on Nintendo Switch. This was reported by IGN, and I think seeing is believing here. So we have this review here from Switch Up. Great channel, by the way. I love these guys. They run a great channel. And they review a ton of Nintendo Switch products if their name wasn't anything to go by. And you'll see here in their review the way they censor things. That would originally be a dude's you-know-what. But that is how the game... that is how the game censors things. So as you can see here, this has been added in. And we know Nintendo, I don't want to get demonetized. We're going to just show my pretty face here now. We know Nintendo has always been a little bit kid-friendly. Like, hey, no meat on the table. Get that out of here, right? And I kind of understand it. Like, they're the kid-friendly platform and they get weirdly responsible about things, but Nintendo's changed over the years, right? We're seeing with the Switch generation begin, like M for mature games were arriving on the platform. Like Doom 2016 made its way to Switch, and that was a big moment. Like, Doom on Switch? Really? Like, this M for mature game? Nowadays, you don't really blink at seeing an M for mature game, especially when recently one of the big launch games for Switch 2 was Cyberpunk 2077. So a game that has plenty of nudity managed to make its way onto the platform uncensored. Or did it? Well, Nintendo responded to this. And here's what they said. Nintendo requires all games on its platforms to receive ratings from independent organizations and to meet our established content and platform guidelines, a Nintendo spokesperson, if I could speak, told IGN. While we inform partners when their titles don't meet our guidelines, Nintendo does not make changes to partner content. We also do not discuss specific content or the criteria used in making these determinations. And IGN summarizes perfectly. In other words, yes, Nintendo does require Switch content to meet certain requirements, but it will flag it if there's a problem. However, Nintendo does not change the game itself, meaning it is left to the developer. So what you're seeing here, that is a ad hoc decision, the developers of Dispatch, right? Now, this seemed like a pretty cut and dry situation, but the more people asked questions and the more ad hoc talked, the more the situation just got a little fishy of like, what exactly happened here, right? One thing we need to kind of go over to before we get deeper into what's happening with Dispatch and this potential censorship issue is Cyberpunk 2077 again. So here's Games Radar from 2020 saying it's to be heavily censored in Japan. They say, according to Press Start, naked male and female characters will all be donning underwear in the Japanese version, and sexually explicit content will be revised. Depictions of genitals are getting the chop as well. Any billboards or graffiti in the shape of genitals will be absent. So if you live in Japan and we're looking forward to some meticulously crafting of your character's body parts or screen grabs, yeah, then you're not going to be able to do that, right? So a lot of people are wondering, okay, why doesn't Dispatch just have its own version for a particular region like Japan that is censored, where it has this separate SKU for them versus the rest, which is uncensored? And I have a theory as to what exactly happened here, which I wouldn't call it laziness. I think that's a cheap argument for a developer, but they tried to be cute with something that they thought people wouldn't care about and tried to minimize the work they would have to do to accomplish that, and it bit them in the ass, and I think people cared a lot more than they realized. So they submitted a statement about this, right? Because Nintendo responded, put the blame on Ad Hoc, and Ad Hoc responds, and they say, as Nintendo states, any game that's going to be on the Nintendo platform needs to meet Nintendo's established content and platform guidelines. This is the key point. Nintendo has content guidelines. Our game didn't meet those guidelines, so we made changes that would allow us to release on their platform. That's what happened here. Honestly, we thought this would be obvious since we're the devs that released the fully uncensored version of the game on other platforms. In reality, numerous fans, as we're going to talk about here, had blamed Japanese rating board Sero for the censorship, as it is widely believed to be the reason why an entirely separate Japan-only version of Cyberpunk 2077 exists for the Nintendo Switch without nudity or beheading. We initially assumed, like some of you, that because of games like The Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk are on the platform with similar types of uncensored mature content, Dispatch will be allowed to do the same. During the porting process, it became clear that was not the case. So we asked that we include a disclaimer on the store page to inform customers that content would be different than on the other platforms. We worked with Nintendo to get the storefront language approved. Where we absolutely need to take full ownership is the displacement of that disclaimer. Again, it was our intent to go out of our way to tell people looking to buy the game that the content was censored. While we didn't have complete control of the language, we did have control of the placement. Wires got crossed and we put the disclaimer in the field, literally titled disclaimer, instead of the about the game section. We didn't catch this until after the launch when we saw people who were saying we should have called out the changes on the store page, and we went to make sure it was there. It technically has been there in the entire time, just in the absolute worst spot that makes it look like we were trying to hide it. This is 100% our mistake, and it was fixed in the America's store page a few hours after the launch to give more visibility. We also added a disclaimer before purchase. As of writing this, the other regions have either published this change or are in the process of reviewing them. So far, so good, but again, people are wondering, like, you owned it, but why is it censored? Like, why can't you have, like, this happening here without this bar? I don't know if y'all want to see this, but, why can't this happen? Like, why could Cyberpunk get by? Again, people go to Sero and think that, well, Cyberpunk was censored in Japan, but the rest was uncensored because it was a separate SKU. Okay, maybe that's what they have to do here. Well, when they were asked about this again, there's another article. Nintendo Switch developer in censorship snafu legally unable to explain why it couldn't release a separate uncut version like Cyberpunk 2077. So, yeah, they actually do answer this question. To the point of the article, they say Ad Hoc has responded to this point too, if only to say is prohibited from explaining the situation. Ad Hoc is legally unable to provide further comment on why separate SKUs were not possible for different regions, adding that there was no possibility for an uncensored physical edition either, and it has no physical edition plans to announce. Okay, here's my guess as to what happened here. They tried to cut costs. They tried to get really cute with it. Someone somewhere screwed up, and now we are seeing the results of that. They're too deep to fix it. Just let it rock. It is what it is. There's no way of a physical version getting around this. Okay. There's no way of a separate SKU getting around this. Okay. And they're not telling you why because now they're legally unable to, which is one of the most infuriating answers yet. So my guess, again, is that what happened here with Dispatch was just like bad call, trying to protect someone. And because I think the real answer would be earned a response of overturn it. We're angry. We're upset. They're trying to just obfuscate the truth a little bit here. And so that's what's happening here. I thought this was a really fascinating story because it's not as cut and dry as it looks, right? We've seen Nintendo censorship stories before, but never to this length where it's like a developer had the blame put on them by Nintendo. And it's like, okay, so you were responsible for why this looked this way. Why is that? And they're like, hey, it's on us. Our bad. It's like, okay, it's your bad. So what are you doing to like fix this? Because this seems avoidable like other developers did. Well, legally speaking, we can't really tell you that. It's just going to be how it is. I find the whole situation fishy, man. So I wanted to spotlight it because I don't think it's as cut and dry. And I think it's just someone who made a pretty bad choice getting protected here. All right. We got some super chats here to catch up on. Disgoonerable the game. Yeah, Dispatch has definitely got some gooner sensibilities from what I've seen online. How are we feeling about Dispatch, y'all? This is a game I really want to play. Japanese version on PS5 is also censored. Good to know. Got some super chats here. Problem with Bethesda and Todd Howard in particular, they are unfortunately a victim of their own success. They got too big too fast. Yeah, I think there's a level of truth to that. I can see where you're coming from. I think there's a level of truth to that. I'll just make a LogMed article on how to remake Morrowind. That's a good time to do it, dude. You should definitely jump on that because right now is like people are talking about Morrowind remake, so people will definitely check that out. I will too. So if you make it, send it to me. Japanese version of the game is also censored. Yeah, so just really weird situation there. On PS5, you're saying. Okay. Thank you for your super chats, guys. Yeah, this whole situation involving ye olde Dispatch. Strange one, that. Dispatch is lacking in the choice and consequence area, apart from a few moments. Still worth playing, though. Great writing, characters. Interesting. I thought it'd be a little more choice and consequence driven. Bethesda are growers, not showers. Don't worry, guys. You don't need to see the orange juice. It's done. Why do people want nudity on a platform that's the most kid-friendly out of them all? Well, I think, first of all, Dispatch is rated M for mature, so kids shouldn't even be able to buy the game, so it kind of comes down to the parents. And then I think also adults play on this platform too. Like, Switch isn't like a toy, like a kid's toy. So I understand where you're coming from. Obviously, yeah, you're not trying to overexpose shit to like kids, but I think it's just for the people who want to play Dispatch, which is otherwise it's a superhero game. Like, it's a story. I think, it's fair for those people to want to play those games. even if they're like an adult on the Switch. This next story we got lined up here, y'all, it's a good one. Ghost Unlimited, I love that response. I love that you said great point, because sometimes people are very argumentative, and I hope I don't come across as Mr. I told you so or anything like that when I try to like respond to people that way. So I appreciate that you were cool with the point I was trying to make. What is this shit? I'm trying to get one of my articles up, and I'm getting hit with if you want to read, you have to sign up. It's like, I'll go to a different website then. Like, I didn't know Business Insider made you sign up. Okay, there we go. Yeah, this next conversation is another one that we've been cooking on for a while here. I've been building up the headlines for this for a couple of weeks now. Mr. Matty told you so. Oh, this is an interesting one. All right, people talking about GTA 6 delay. Meanwhile, the headline is GTA 6 marketing will kick off this summer. This Take-Two confidently reaffirms November release date. Dude, I hope it just finally comes out. I'm like, I almost don't give a fuck about the game at this point. Like, I just want to play it. Like, I'm not like a mega GTA fan, but like, dude, I just don't like. Come on, just release the game, would you? Interesting. This report's also saying GTA 6. Hey, let's do an impromptu one here, y'all. Let me grab some headlines here. It looks like we got some interesting shit going on with GTA 6. Got physical copies confirmed. Marketing kicking off. Shout out to chat. Looking out for me here. Appreciate you guys. This is the beauty of doing it live. All right, we got a super chat here. Thank you, Chum Gruntley. Appreciate you. Random question, but have you done a Fallout playthrough on your Steam Deck? It's so dope to go through them portably with better gunplay. Yes, yeah, I played a little bit of Fallout 3 and New Vegas both on my Steam Deck. I fucking love it there. Or Fallout New Vegas specifically. Sorry, I was like, because I'm trying to remember if the Steam update worked for Fallout 3 on the Steam Deck, but definitely New Vegas. That was awesome. Yeah, like playing those games portably, it's like, bro, why did Bethesda put this on Switch when like, you know, like people are just looking for ports of like their favorite things to take on the go. All right. Let me see if there's any other GTA 6 headlines here. Let's like I said, let's do this a little impromptu here. Let's see what Maddie can cook like really live here. I'm gonna do some live research here. Yeah, man, people jump right on top of this GTA 6 shit. Yeah, I think it's only these two headlines. All right, let's get into it. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we have information on Grand Theft Auto 6. How about that? We have marketing that'll kick off this summer. And obviously, as we know, Grand Theft Auto 6 is a game that we've eagerly awaited for so long that you have people like me who are starting to get a little bit bothered by the wait in a way that's not productive for the game. Like, I'm still going to play it, and I have no doubt I'm still going to have a great time with it. But I don't like just how long this game has kept us all on the hook for. Like, I'm getting tired of little song and dance of games delaying to avoid a potential release of GTA 6. Like, let this thing come out, have all the headlines, have all the crazy numbers, and we'll just move on. Like, that's all. I just move on, all right? We'll all play GTA 6, and we're just going to move on. I'm interested as well if they're going to do any sort of like GTA Online that'll prolong GTA 6's relevance on the market here. Anyway, we have this headline here, finally, because a lot of people were wondering, like, is it going to get delayed again? And it looks like it's finally happening. So this is from IGN. And they write, Grand Theft Auto 6's November 19th, 2026 release date is drawing near. And while the game is now suffering multiple delays, Take-Two is starting to sound more confident than we've ever heard. This time, it's really happening. So confident, in fact, that it announced that Rockstar will be spinning up its marketing beats this summer. So yeah, if you're looking for when a trailer might hit, the summer. Like, we actually are getting that type of information now. Holy smokes. It's about time. Meanwhile, Elder Scrolls 6 fans. Pain. All right, they say this comes from Take-Two's Q3 2026 earnings results, which were just released. In those earnings, Take-Two reaffirms that GTA 6 is still planned for November 19, 2026. That on its own would be exciting news after two separate delays, but even better is a sentence at the bottom of the release sent to IGN, quote, our execution through fiscal 2026 has been extraordinary, and we are highly confident as we approach fiscal 27, which promises to be groundbreaking for Take-Two and the entire entertainment industry, led by the November 19th release of Grand Theft Auto 6, with Rockstar's launch marketing set to begin this summer. So, yeah, dude, like, finally, we're actually going to see the game. Right now, as you can see on their website, we have two trailers for GTA 6. So we'll probably get a third one that they'll ride into launch. And if they do some sort of like GTA 6 online or whatever, maybe we'll get that as a separate trailer. But I don't think this game needs more than like one more look at mostly uninterrupted gameplay. Like, I think of the Grand Theft Auto 5 heist and how we kind of saw those in action. Like, when I say gimmick around GTA, I guess what's the idea? What's the mission design? Like, what are they trying to push there? Getting a look at that, because I feel like we're very convinced the open world is going to be beautiful, alive, things to do in it. And obviously these games from Rockstar are special because of the secrets packed into them. But I do wonder with something like this, like, what will they show beyond what's already there? And I'm hoping it's just kind of like missions, uninterrupted gameplay, that sort of thing, really giving people a taste of what this game is going to have in store for us. They also write here, speaking to Take-Two CEO Strauss Zelnick earlier today, I asked him how he felt about the release date at this time, to which he replied, I feel very good about it. Very good about it. I mean, dude, we haven't heard this type of talk before. It's kind of hard not to believe at this point. Now, we've asked Zelnick before, and he said he felt really good about the fall 2025 release date that was originally announced ahead of two delays. So I asked him if this time it was different. He said, of course, because anytime you're getting closer to marketing beats, you're obviously in a place where your confidence level is as high as it can be. So that's a big deal right there. They're like, okay, we're planning to start trying to sell this thing to people. That means they're going to start trying to take pre-orders. You can still move things around even when pre-order windows are open. We've seen games do it before, but it's very hard to pull up. So I feel like once they commit to that pre-order window and opening things up and like really creating the pages for like wish listing and all that stuff, I think GTA 6, like, that's when you can really start to lock it in, which it looks like we're very close to that point here. Now, in lieu of all of this, what we started to hear is that GTA 6 will be a digital-only video game. I had some conflicting thoughts on when I saw this rumor pop up, because GTA 6 is one of the rare exceptions for me where I went, going digital only makes a lot of sense. This is a game that needs 0 reviews online, and that's because it's going to sell well regardless. It doesn't matter if IGN, GameSpot, myself, Skill Up, Jake, doesn't matter who the hell says to you, hey, this game's a 10 out of 10. You've probably already made your purchasing decision like 2 years ago on whether or not you were going to pick up GTA. In fact, just the curiosity, the morbid curiosity around this is the game everyone in the industry is avoiding, that would probably pull you into just at least checking out the game, looking into when you would want to play this one, right? So step one is like, we don't need physical copies, digital copies, all that stuff. I don't think this game needs reviews. And I say all of that because if you're going to go digital only, then physical copies can't leak, so people can't leak the entire story online. We've already seen GTA 6 has been the subject of many gigantic leaks, right? Well, with that rumor going around, I thought it made sense, but it turns out I gotta use a Kotaku link. It was the only one I could find, y'all. This is impromptu. Bear with me here. GTA 6 isn't skipping physical discs at launch here. They say a strange rumor popped up online last month claimed that to avoid leaks, Rockstar Games and Take-Two were going to delay physical release of GTA 6 and that the game would only launch digitally. That's not the case. On February 3rd, as part of Take-Two's Q3 physical results, the company's longtime CEO Strauss Zelnick told Variety bluntly that the online rumors swirling around GTA 6's physical launch were nothing to worry about. He said that's not the plan. So, look, man, I mean, now we're getting a physical copy too? Not too bad here. Now, do I think this physical copy will just be like a key on a disc? Sure, but I'm surprised by this because I really thought this made a lot of sense for their situation. They're in a pocket where they can operate how they want to operate. The game industry has gone progressively more digital. You don't need reviewers, so you just like don't need to even worry about leaks at all. If you don't hand it out to reviewers, it's digital only. You lock it behind the storefronts. This game is leak-proof at that point, and it's pretty much a guaranteed success. So I'm very surprised that they're going to do physical copies because no doubt people will commit crimes to steal these things. People will commit crimes to sell these things. And Take-Two has shown in the past with Borderlands 3 to be incredibly litigious. They will make you pay for your crimes. So they'll say, I dare you to go after it. But people will do this, right? So that's what's going on here with GTA 6. Marketing starting soon. Physical copies are happening. And I wonder if that says anything about the review situation and how they're viewing things. But that's the update on GTA 6. Chat, how did I do? That was straight up impromptu. That was like right off the cuff. Got to include the whole map in the physical edition. That'd be sick too. Yeah, I guess, yeah, you're right, Parch, that like the reviews do build the hype a little bit. Because there are some games I reviewed where I'm like, I think I've even said in my content, I'm like, I don't know how useful this is to you. Like you already know what you want to do with this game. I'm just here to basically reaffirm it. And for people, they just want that excitement. Maddie, why do you think GTA 6 is on its own level? Like they don't have to do or say anything and people stay excited. I personally think they've earned it through quality. I just think it's from the buzz like the industry itself has given it. And by that, I don't mean people like me or content creators. I mean like other devs who are avoiding this game like the plague and trying to clear space for it. Like, get out of the way. Watch out. He's a hero, you know, that like Spider-Man 2 shit, like passing him along above all the citizens. Like that's the treatment GTA 6 is getting right now, which is why I look at this and I'm like, it can do whatever it wants. I'm surprised they're going to do physical copies. So I'm like, this shit's 100% leaking now. So get ready, I guess. Get ready to avoid all the leaks that are going to pour out online. It's one of those games where frankly, like I don't want to review because like I would be terrified reviewing this game, bro. Because again, Take-Two is shown to be incredibly litigious, and if this shit ever like leaked or someone caught wind of you like reviewing the game, like I think this is like a game that's just got crime written all over it, bro. Like people are gonna get into trouble over this game. The headlines around this game are gonna be fucking crazy. I think that's also why it's just the buzz. It's not even the game itself; it's just the buzz around it. So that's why they can kind of operate how they like to. Symmetric, thank you. Not normally a live stream watcher, but you're here and enjoying it. Thank you, thank you. Crimson Desert hype is real, man. I agree. That is a good looking game. I would love nothing more than to have that game deliver on all its promises. I mean, yeah, Maddie, the name is a crime. You get what I'm saying. If it's a product key, how can it leak? It has a redeem date. Yeah, true. I guess I'm thinking about if it's a traditional disc. There's also that point. One take wonder. I'm rarely a one take wonder. My wife makes fun of me because, like, you know how I open all my videos, like, salutations, everybody. It's Maddie here. Before that, like, we have two different audio sources that I record from as like a backup just in case anything goes wrong with the OBS recording. So I'll go like 3, 2, 1, and I'll clap like this. And my wife always makes fun of me because when I'm really flubbing on a video, she'll just hear like over and over and over and over me going like 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. And just over and over and over. So for me to get something on one take is rare. Streaming brings something out of me. I got to be like clutch. I think I got the clutch gene, you know? I did turn this carrot juice into water. Indeed. I just joined Lake and you repeat everything you just said. Got a couple hours? Yeah, Parch. Like, people are gonna try to hack reviewers' footage. Like, yeah, I'm not fucking touching that shit with a 10-foot pole. I'm good. I'll play the game with everyone else. I don't need to make a review that bad. Noah Keen, we are looking into that. Stay tuned. Savage, Maddie, what happened to the Fallout show episode reviews? The first episode was an experiment. It didn't go over super well. And it was right as I was getting ready for my holiday break, so I was a little burnt out. So I honestly just wanted to take the time off and just enjoy the show as a fan. I'm kind of glad I did. The week-to-week noise was a little tiring. So, you know, I just wanted to also focus more on doing a full review, like episodically, rather than, you know, again, just diving into the online zeitgeist for it. Maddie, will you do a live review for when you get a like I did with Mind's Eye? Special exception for that one, because ultimately it's an easier way to make a review, and like a game like Mind's Eye doesn't deserve all my fucking time and effort. So to just be transparent about that, that's like part of the decision behind it. It's like I don't need to sit down and process and write a whole script. It's like this game speaks for itself, right? So each review is a little different for me. Yeah, Izzy, the streams always go live on the channel afterwards. So if you miss anything, you can go ahead and click on the channel to the live tab and you'll find it there. Nothing gets unlisted. It's available for everyone for free. So there's no like paywalls or anything. Like I just want this here for you all to enjoy. Oh, squid and cheese is more carrot and orange fuds or other fruits and veggies. Thank you, man. Thank you. I'm very excited about this. I appreciate you, Squid. You've been super supportive of the streams, man, but that's awesome of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I actually told my wife, it's funny, because you donated for the snacks and stuff. So when I bought dinner for us, I said this is on one of my viewers, because I said they actually super chatted and said like for the snacks during the movies and stuff. And I said, this is on them. It's not on me. So thank you, man. I appreciate it. And hey, dude, Andre pointed out in chat, orange is the color, right? You did match the juice color. So that's pretty nice. We still have, let me see how many stories I have left here that I have planned for you guys. All right, I have one plan, but we're actually doing really good on time here, where I might be able to squeeze in that marathon one like I talked about. You guys are talking about the juicing stuff, man. Man, this cup's looking kind of empty. Look at that little drop. I just need one drop. It's such a good flavor, dude. Like orange juice is very tangy, right? But that's such a good flavor. It's like just slightly reduced, not as like sugary tasting either. Just That's the other thing. Juicing this stuff is great. There's no added sugars at all, so it's just pure stuff here. No games this stream. No games this stream, unfortunately not. Let me shut my window here. Hang on. All right. Top 10 juices, Ash. That's a hell of a question. I don't know if I got a good answer for that. Because I don't even know what my favorite juice of all time is yet. You'd think I'd know that by now, but I don't. Because the cherry pomegranate we make is great. This carrot and orange one is so great. The pickle juice, as you guys call it, that's a really refreshing one. The apples, the grapes, and the cucumbers. It's like a very watery apple juice. It's so good. It's so good. At least put those in my top 5. That's for sure. I'm so happy about your juice, especially as a fellow juice enjoyer. Yeah, dude, like it's just, I always like a little, I got to balance out the water with a little something is how I look at it. I think lemonade, like blueberry lemonade is up there as a great juice. Apple juice is easy, top 3. Someone just pointed out in chat. Yeah, apple juice, top juice for sure. Cranberry's clutch. Cranberry can be kind of clutch. I don't know, kind of like it's a dry. It's almost like wine. You know, it leaves a similar texture on my tongue. Are we getting too into it right now? Should I stop? Pineapple juice is a good one. Ginger, pineapple, and jalapeno. That sounds intense. Raspberry is a good one. Grapefruit. Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's certain juices, like, I don't do juice shots. I've never tried, really. I think I did it once, like the wellness shots, where it's like an elixir. You know, I haven't tried those, but maybe that's something I can get into next. Juice you tried but didn't like. Is there an answer to that? Like, let's see what the internet says. Hang on. Like, hold on. Like, worst tasting juice. I've never even heard of these. Agua de sapo, like I've never heard of that. I never heard of that. Dried apricot paste. Okay. Tucupi, I've never heard of that. Chomp has never heard of that. I've never heard of these. Maca punch? Maca punch? Sounds like a vending machine. Worst commercial orange juice. Oh, they're slandering Sunny D in the AI overload? Thin, soda-like, overwhelmingly sweet taste with only 2% of actual juice content. I don't know. Like, Sunny D is garbage, but it's also like the good type of garbage. Signature Select apple juice is cited for lacking flavor. I don't know if there's an answer for like the worst. Okay, worst to best. Let's see what Tasting Table has here. Sunny D catching another stray. Simply Light. Yeah, Simply Light's kind of ass. Like, we don't need that. Dude, there's fucking 4 orange juices. What the fuck is wrong with you? Oh, because the article's about orange juices. My bad. I thought it was just juices. Hold on. Stop and Shop. How do you even rate these? This person's fucking insane. Tropicana at 7? 6 floors natural? Minute Maid frozen concentrate. Interesting choice. Stop and Shop frozen concentrate. Wait, Simply Orange? Wait. Oh, Simply Light. Okay, I was like, what? Okay. Minute Maid gets the #1 spot on Tasting Table. Pulp free. Yeah, I'm not really a pulp guy. So, there's also that. Oh, I think. Oh, wait. Parch got it. Parch has got it. Hold on. Wait, let me see if I can get a picture up of this thing. And then we'll get into our next story. I know. Oh, where is it? Hold on. I know the worst tasting one. I got it. I fucking got it. Hold on. Images. I need to bring up a good image. Fuck. I forgot Google like shoots it to the side. Hold on. I promise you when I show you guys this, whatever, we'll just rain in pictures on it. Right here. Read it and fucking weep, dude. V8 sucks. I remember having the tomato juice or whatever they did, the vegetable juice. That shit is fucking ass, dog. I hate V8. I hate that shit. That is awful tasting, dude. The fact that this shit is still in stock to the point where they were able to fucking rebrand this is crazy to me. That is some awful, awful shit right there, dude. And they dare to have a spicy hot version? The chat's blocking it, but a spicy hot version? No. Never. I forgot about that. I fucking pushed that out of my brain. That shit's awful. Oh, people saying it's decent? All right. Come on. It's just tomato juice. No. It's not just tomato juice, guys. It's vegetable juice. That's designed for me to like literally crack open a can. No one reaches into their fridge and goes, tomatoes sound good right now. I'm fucking parched. Like, no. Bloody Mary filling is what I refer to it as. Anyone old enough to remember Sobe? The purple one was God tier. I don't remember that personally. I ain't ever fuck with V8. I know V8 makes a fruit juice. Yes. But we're talking vegetable juice. I mean, that'd be an interesting stream challenge. If I don't know what I'd have to be put up to have me drinking V8 for a whole news stream, and like having a whole fucking like set of cans sitting back here. That'd be so funny. Matt Sniper, good to see you, man. Holy moly, I'm late to the party. I can't believe I have over 2 hours of Maddie to catch up on. Yeah, you're gonna have a little bit more. We still have a couple of stories we're gonna go through here because we're making good on time. All right. Guys, let's get into some of the news again. It was great talking juice, but you scarred me. Fucking V8. I forgot about that shit. Sobe Dragon. Hold on. We're talking a little Sobe in chat. Let me see if I can. Sobe Dragon. Sobe drinks. Oh, whoa. Yo, I forgot about these. Yeah, with like the dragon on the, oh my God. 90s original Sobe beverages. Yeah, dude. Wow. Wow. That's crazy, man. Wow. Pfft. What a blast from the past. Sobe was kind of nice. Yeah, I don't hate Sobe. V8 is an acquired taste. It's good for hangovers? Really? That's new. I've not heard that before. A hangover. So you fit. So Archer, you like. I'm gonna dig into your psyche. You get fucking hammered, bro, and you like wake up and you're like, "Where's my V8? I need a V8, dude. I'm fucking hungover like shit right now." Is that what you do? Because that's crazy. If so, someone has to give me a scientific breakdown. I've never heard that before. I don't drink a lot, though, so that's why I'm asking you guys. Like, I was a water guy, you know? Hangover, water. Bloody Mary's the hangover drink. I think any kind of juice helps. Oh. Interesting. Liquid IV is much better for hangovers. Mute fruit juice. V8 with a single raw egg is the old hangover cure. Wait, what? You guys are weirder than me, bro. You guys are weirder than me. I don't want to have anyone. When I pull up with my normal juice mix, I don't want to hear any banta from the chat. I don't want to hear any banta. None. We got news to get into. Hold your V8 takes for now, all right? Please. Oh, someone's talking about vitamin water. Yeah. I'm not a vitamin water guy, dude. It's just like, you should have just made water. Like this kind of faint, fruity tasting water. You got to pick a lane, dog. All right. You bunch of nasty mofos. Oh, no. We have another V8 take. Oh, God. I have V8 in a bottle of clear Pedialyte for hangovers and illness. Both gross, both work. Yeah, why can't we just have like a great elixir, though? You know? There's got to be a way. Tyler, I respect you, bro. I see you on Duke. I see you in the comments, bro. I'm not going to go for Tyler. Tyler's a nice guy. But you know what, man? You're advocating for our enemy right now. And that's something I'm going to have to track. All right, team. Let's do this one together. Who's ready to talk about AI? Our favorite topic. Okay, AI has been on an interesting journey in 2025 into 2026, to say the least. It really reached ahead thanks to our Lord and Savior, Satya Nadella. He writes on his scratch pad here, looking forward to 2026, and he talks a lot about it being a pivotal year for AI. Now, I guess to kind of disclose where I'm at with AI, you know, if it's a tool and I see some positive use cases here, that's great. Look, I'm not out here like back in the old days. If Thomas Edison pulled up to me and said, dog, I got a light bulb, I'd say, hey, fam, my oil lamp is doing me good. Get the fuck out of here, right? Like, I'm not acting like that with AI, but I really have yet to see some positive use cases on what exactly AI is going to do for me, the common human on this planet that is not benefiting some corporate overlord that's getting injected with tons and tons of cash for some arbitrary future that no one really seems to have a true grasp on. It's just called the next big thing. It doesn't look anything more than a money pit to me. So that's my take on AI here. Satya Nadella disagrees. He says here that it's a concept that involves bicycles for mind. And we think of same shit, AI as a scaffolding for human potential versus a substitute. What matters is not the power of any given model, but how people choose to apply it to achieve their goals. We need to get beyond the arguments of slop versus sophistication and develop a new equilibrium in terms of our theory of the mind that accounts for humans being equipped with these new cognitive amplifier tools as we relate to each other. This is the product design question we need to debate and answer. So obviously you've already seen on social media when he asked you to stop calling it slop, everyone started calling them Microslop because Microsoft is a leader in the shittiest parts of AI. You see headlines like this, Satya Nadella says as much as 30% of their code is written by AI, and then you see how absolutely terrible Windows is, how terrible things are going at Xbox, and you're like, oh, weird how these things are starting to overlap all of a sudden here. And the AI tools that are being invested in are so bad, as Windows Central documents here, nobody wants to use them. We're at the point, by the way, if you fire a paint, right? Remember Paint? It uses Copilot now. They have fucking shoved this thing into every single corner of Windows. And it's why Windows is, among many other reasons, falling off here. Because we never had this big anti-Windows push. Like, it was kind of minimized, but its AI has exploded it because Microsoft's attention is split in so many different ways, and they're clearly all in on AI that all the minimal quality they had is slipping through here. Now, let's read this article from Windows Central here, because they say if there's one thing that typifies Microsoft under CEO Satya Nadella's tenure, it's the general inability to connect with customers. Perfectly said. A recent report from The Information detailed how Microsoft's internal AI efforts are going awry with cut forecasts and sales goals for its Azure AI products across the board. The Information said that Microsoft's sales people are struggling to meet goals owing to a lack of demand. Microsoft denied the reports, but it can't deny market share growth trends, all of which point to Google Gemini surging ahead, which, by the way, this article here was written December 8th, 2025, and when Gemini or Genie or whatever launched, I'm sorry, I'm misremembering. I'm thinking of Genie. Gemini is a whole separate thing. I apologize. Let's keep moving on here. Last week, we read about how Microsoft's Copilot backend partner, OpenAI, issued a code red situation because ChatGPT has fallen behind Gemini in its problem solving. And so with OpenAI's business model under constant scrutiny and racking up genuinely dangerous levels of debt, it's become a cascading problem for Microsoft to have tied up in another layer of business, what might end up being something of a lame duck here. And so you can see the usage charts here. ChatGPT is by and far the highest usage amount, followed by Copilot, but we see Gemini is slowly going to overtake it. Get out of here, Windows Central. Love you guys, but no. And we see the gap here for these other AI tools is just really low. Grok being at below 1% is hilarious, by the way, because of just how many people I see on Twitter going like, at Grok, explain this for me. At Grok, can you generate this image for me? So funny. Below 1% for that. So what's happening here is now Microsoft a month later, right? Because the headline here from Windows Central, again, December 8th, now we're at the end of January here. Microsoft loses a massive $440 billion in market cap as shares tank here. So if you don't think the panic is setting in here, as we get into other case points from video game developers all the way to things like ChatGPT business model shifts and NVIDIA, if you don't think the panic's setting in for these companies, you're kidding yourself right now. Even if you're pro AI, I respect the thought process, but you can see that it's not turning out as they had hoped here. Microsoft's stock just achieved an unsettling milestone. Microsoft can now claim to have experienced the second largest single-day stock decline in history, wiping an absurd $440 billion in market value from the tech giant. The only drop behind that is of NVIDIA last year, who experienced a similar deep shock when China's efficient DeepSeek AI model implied that it didn't need as much as NVIDIA tech to have capable chatbot as it had thought. Microsoft's share price dropped a whopping 5.37% today and is almost down 14% for the month of January 2026 so far. And we can see that right here on screen here. So Microsoft is losing money because people are starting to lose faith in their AI tool and taking that money and investing it in other companies with their AI tools here. They say the stock revolves entirely around Azure, Microsoft's biggest division by far, but investors are growing increasingly wary about Satya Nadella's strategy surrounding Azure and artificial intelligence in particular. Azure grew by 39%, which sounds fantastic, but Wall Street apparently wanted more. Investors were also unimpressed by the future-facing statement of the further 37% growth. Cloud revenue surpassed $50 billion atop a huge $81.3 billion annual revenue. By the way, these are like video game numbers, dude. This is insane. Like, the fact that anyone's unsatisfied with any of these numbers is insane. Up 17% year over year. Operating income was up 21% year over year with a net of $38.5 billion. Microsoft 365 Copilot was up 160% year over year. GitHub Copilot was up 75%, and shareholder returns were up 32% year over year. What more could investors possibly want, you might ask? Well, the explanation doesn't make a lot of sense to me either as a lowly pauper, but all of this still isn't enough. The real reason that stock is down is because growth doesn't reflect the capital expenditure Microsoft is committed to artificial intelligence and infrastructure surrounding it, construction in essence, and the risks therein. CapEx has jumped almost $40 billion for the quarter, up around 70% year over year. Tons of money has been poured into NVIDIA GPUs, which might make a decent shelf life in your gaming PC, but depreciate in value incredibly quickly as part of a huge data center. Investors are basically concerned that Microsoft won't see any meaningful returns on silicon investiture before everything needs to be upgraded or replaced. So people are basically out on Microsoft and taking their money elsewhere. So Microsoft, who has put all of their resources into AI and has hurt the Xbox business most notably, is now losing out on that front of the business because everyone believes this is the next big thing. And because it's the next big thing, they're all putting their chips on the table. And Microsoft has now shown they are standing to lose a lot because of it. Investor support, scrutiny of their AI products, and now possibly even Xbox. Speaking of which, how is this affecting the games industry is a big question here. GamesIndustry.biz is at GDC, and they conducted a survey recently that showed that layoffs are up 6%, 36% of the industry is using AI, and that there's an overwhelming support for industry unionization. But there's also another part of this polling here that I wanted to highlight for you guys, which is right here. 36% of respondents said that they used AI in their work, although uptake varied between disciplines. Those at game studios that reported using AI tools, like 30% less than those at publishing companies, support teams, and marketing/PR firms, 58%. The business professionals' usage at 58% far outweighs most other job disciplines. 47% of upper management reported using AI tools, while only 29% of more junior positions reported doing so. Studio directors sat in the middle with 36% AI usage. And you can see that, dear God, I didn't realize how small that picture is. Here we go. Let's do your thing, magnifier. Okay. There we go. So you can see the tool that's used the most is ChatGPT, and you can see what the tools are used for, mostly for research and brainstorming, but it goes down all the way to things like 20% almost are using it for asset generation, procedural generation at 10%, 5% for player features, player-facing features, code assistance, 47% here. So yeah, what you're seeing here is a lot of people embracing AI. Now, what exactly does this mean here? Well, the sentiment against generative AI continues to rise. 52% of respondents said that generative AI was having a negative impact on the industry, a steady increase from 30% in 2025 and 18% in 2024. This is a really key point here because obviously one of the centerpieces of the conversation involving Gen AI was what Divinity with Larian Studios, the golden child of the industry, they just went through their own dragging of the public for using Gen AI to the point where they dropped using Gen AI for their concept art. In light of that controversy here, we have this article from This Week in Video Games where they interviewed 12 separate concept artists who said that Gen AI actually makes their job harder. And again, this is all built off the back of what was happening with Larian. Now, a lot of this is basically teeing up what Sven had said, which is they use their AI tools to explore references, which they no longer do now. But then they describe what a concept artist does. I'll keep this simple so we can avoid a little bit of the reading here. Basically, concept artist is responsible for the foundation of everything you see visually in a game. They're responsible for thinking out like not just technology and what it looks like, but how it works. Does it use gears? What do those gears do? What are they connected to? They have to think those things out. So a lot of their time is spent, as described in this article here, doing research. They say here part of gathering images, but also reading articles, watching media, assessing the competition, watching videos about the way things work, consuming scientific papers. Artists are like scientists. It's what I've always said. They have to fundamentally understand how a thing works. And that's why a lot of artists, at least the ones I work with, are really intelligent, because they have to know a lot about everything to make accurate looking pieces for their game world. So if you're making like a sci-fi game, you need to like deeply understand energy transfer and like how like computers work and that sort of stuff, right? So let's get into the meat and potatoes of this. How does Gen AI hurt a concept artist, for example, here, especially in an industry that we just saw here is 52% of them who were surveyed here are against Gen AI. Well, how does it hurt a developer? Kim Hu, a freelance illustrator, concept artist, and designer who served as the lead concept artist on Rollerdrome, awesome game, says outsourcing even part of the early ideation to AI robs you of the discovery, as it will likely or more or less give you exactly what you asked for. On the other hand, going through archives and real-world references allow you to stumble upon things you never thought of before, informing and branching out your ideas further. Going into these accidental rabbit holes is a pivotal step of concept and world building to me. Now, I think some people might read that and go, all right, like I get it, but that doesn't seem too fundamental. Like, isn't the goal to find that endpoint here? But the idea is finding things you never considered, like combining two worlds. Like, hey, this Wild West element doesn't really go well with this sci-fi element, but can I find a way for those worlds to meet? And that might give you a unique technological aesthetic, whereas ChatGPT would give you something very literal to that. Paul Scott Canavan is an artist who worked as an art director and concept artist for projects like Destiny 2, Heroes of the Storm, Guild Wars 2, and Netflix's The Witcher. He believes Gen AI entails the same problem Gen AI has across the board. There's no originality. We've heard this one before here, right? It's just that it's being pulled from other pieces of art here. But I thought the most interesting description here was this one. They said, Gen AI images present me with a spoiled broth. I don't know where the ingredients came from. And that's how he puts it. And working to break down those amalgamated images back to their original components to dig for their original context naturally takes time. One senior concept artist who wished to protect their identity due to their role at a major game developer told us the studio leadership currently asked them to work from AI-generated references. They say they would often have to reverse engineer where the pieces of the image composite came from and work off what I'm able to find of careful searches on the internet. Things like hairstyles, clothing, props, and so on. In addition to assuring the company was protected from potential legal blowback, given the project was a well-known IP, this artist reasoned that this task was something that they felt they had to do in principle for the benefit of their peers. So when I'm putting a design package together for a 3D artist, either in-house or off-site, they actually have reference that they can use instead of the time-wasting deciphering of what the output image reference is. I feel like I'm responsible for others I work for on my project. And for me, that's a normal part of my job. So what you're also seeing is it creates more work because obviously there's a legality concern with AI and where the source of these things is. And if you can't decipher that, then you might be stealing someone's work incidentally. We look at what happened with Marathon, where there was deliberate work stolen. We see how that blows up in a developer's face here. And AI is going to present that issue here. So now you have a senior artist who has to take the Gen AI image they're given and parse through it to find the original material anyway. So it kind of defeats the purpose of itself here, right? But also, it's a little bit of a blow to morale when you're handed, say a developer says, we want something like this, and they hand you a Gen AI image. You've basically already been told what to make. Now you're treating an artist like a printer. That's another problem there. When you treat an artist like a printer and they can't be creative, your artists burn out and your artists lose steam and they produce far less. At least in my experience, where when artists are more constrained, where like when I first started working on my game and we had to sort of do this, make this relationship in the very early days of our game, this actually became a problem because I was treating artists, which I didn't really know this at the time, I wasn't a professional, as a printer. That becomes a problem. When we kind of loosened up and just said, dude, go crazy with it, I trust you. Not only was the work better, I was seeing ideas I never considered, which is the most exciting part of a project, but also the energy was higher. Everyone was feeling good, right? So when you rob into that process, there are both tangible and intangible effects here. So now we know how the games industry impact is happening here. We'll carry it one step forward. Let's take a look at NVIDIA, who was crashing out recently here. This is the NVIDIA CEO, January 12th, 2026, who says, and so it sounds like it's really important to have this conversation. Extremely hurtful, frankly. And I think we've done a lot of damage with very well-respected people who have painted a doomer narrative, end-of-the-world narrative, science fiction narrative. And I appreciate that many of us grew up and enjoyed science fiction, but it's not helpful. It's not helpful to people. It's not helpful to the industry. It's not helpful to society. It's not helpful to the government. There are a lot of people in the government who obviously aren't as familiar with, as comfortable with, I'm sorry, am I misreading this? There's a lot of people, or there's a lot of many people in the government who obviously aren't as familiar with, as comfortable with the technology. Okay, so I'm not bugging. That doesn't read right to me. But anyway, we have the CEO of NVIDIA, who's also just out sword and shield, protecting AI and saying, like, basically, hey guys, like, this conversation's hurtful. This dude is hurt over how you feel about AI, because they can't handle how you feel that way. Because if you don't support it, they're not getting money. They're not getting investor money because no one sees a future in this. There's no better example of this right now than ChatGPT, who just announced that they are expanding into advertising. This is something that Sam Altman, the head of ChatGPT, said a couple of years ago, that I kind of think of ads as a last resort for us as a business model. But here we are in 2026, and OpenAI, ChatGPT, is going to be serving you up some ads. So yeah, must be going really well for them. It's clear these CEOs are getting desperate and concern is starting to set in. And if that wasn't enough here, it's starting to hit the consumer in the wallet here. We can see the trend here over the last 18 months of the price of RAM and how it was gradually going up as AI was going up. And then we see the massive spike at the end of the year, and it's holding there. Now, an ASUS representative actually talked about this and said that the prices will probably normalize by 2027 once we have the RAM shortage figured out. But the key point of this headline here is nobody wants to lower their prices here. They say it's really hard to say. I think memory vendors, like actual memory chip manufacturers, they never run their factories at 100% capacity. They always try to run their fabs at maximum capacity because, you know, for the best price, you want to use all the resources you have. But they usually have some idle capacity. They can bring additional manufacturing lines online and reactivate maybe some of the older ones that have extra capacity. So if there's an increase in demand, they can increase their supply. But there's only so much flexibility. And I think from the demand right now for memory is so high, and we all know where that comes from, which is obviously AI. He says, my personal gut feeling is that it's going to be relatively long. I feel like prices are not going to come down soon. I saw that some people expect prices to already drop in the middle of 26 or towards the end of 26. That's the most optimistic I've heard. And then maybe the most pessimistic is 28 and 28 beyond. I think it's probably going to be something in between. My personal gut feeling is 27 is when we see the price start to normalize. This is important context because to me, it's really the top of the headline here that nobody wants to be first. This reminds me a lot of when COVID was ongoing and there was a lot of confusion around COVID and pricing, and like things went up in value, like toilet paper, for example, right? Because there were shortages on it, and there became eventually an artificial scarcity where things like groceries nowadays are starting to see a hike in price, even though they don't need to be more expensive because consumers have adjusted to that high price. So now the profit margins for like producing, say, something that was very cheap stays the same, and then you're selling it for like double the price it once was at. And so now I think obviously it's not good for business to have prices like this here going up this much. And I'm sure they'll regulate a little bit, but I think a lot of these companies are going to try to take advantage of the market confusion, the will they, won't they, and leave the prices in a relatively high area where you'll look at like a 5090, which is over $5,000 and go, well, it's $3,000 now. I'd rather pay that than $5,000. And you're going to get some people who will spring for that. And so I just think with where AI is at right now, I don't think it ever permanently goes away. I think you can't put that kind of lightning back in the bottle, if you want to call it that, the genie back in the bottle, rather. The genie back in the lamp. That's what I was looking for. You can't do that. But what you can say is I think a lot of these companies are going to falter dramatically because of it. And they're going to have to start focusing their resources elsewhere to recoup, because eventually one AI to rule them all. And when that happens, it's kind of a done deal. Like there's no more like we're making the push and we're making the push and we're making the push. I'm sure there'll still be some that try, but to this level, I think it'll be a fruitless effort. So, yeah, I think AI isn't going anywhere fast, but I do also think that it's failing, and these companies are starting to panic. That's what we got going on, guys. There's a super chat here from One Pump Man. I like Gaming Copilot. I use it to help me find the Thieves Guild and Skyrim without spoilers and gaming clues. Not a full replacement, though. Yeah, like that. I think that's perfectly fine. I think the Gaming Copilot initiative that they have at Xbox isn't like the worst thing in the world. You know, like I look at what they had there for like, hey, when I asked them, like, where am I at in this game right now? And just catching someone up, I think that's fine. Like, I forgot what I was doing. I haven't played the game in a week or two. Can you remind me, AI God tier friend? And they're like, yes, here's where you were at in your story. That's good. I think that's a good feature. I just think for the investment it's getting and the attention it's getting, it's really hard to sit here and like justify it because it's like not changing the everyday consumer's life outside of making things more expensive and just creating more headaches. Neighborhood, I love you too. Thank you. When you ask a kid a question and they say, let me Google it. I might be one of those kids. I like to Google things. Satchel says, I really want good AI regulation. Sadly, I don't think that's going to happen with the current administration. It's a whole other conversation. Yeah, I mean, there's obviously government involved in it too, which is, yeah, it's true. It's a whole other can of worms. But yeah, this whole AI situation, bro, it's just so tiring. Very tiring. Oh, we got through a lot of stories here today. Trying to see here. We hit 6 stories today. Whew! Power day. We took that extra hour and made the most of it. Got a little GTA 6 in there as well. All right. All right. I think it's time to start winding down, you guys. I have a meeting in 40 minutes. So I'm probably going to get something to eat real quick. But let's talk for a little bit here. Let's talk for another 10 minutes before we get on out of here. This has been a lot of fun again. I look forward to doing this. I'm starting to feel like I don't want to put a schedule in firmly, but like Tuesdays and Fridays seem to be our days. Like they seem, obviously there will be the more impromptu streams like, oh, it's better for the audience. Like let's go live on a Thursday. But I'm starting to feel like Tuesdays and Thursdays have been our little pocket. Scary says, how do you talk for so long? Well, if you notice during the open AI segment there, like I start to flub because I'm getting like a little tired. And so like that starts to happen because your brain's just cooking. You're responding to people so much that it's just like, you know, it's easy just to like get tongue tied. And no matter how much water I drink here, like there's nothing beats just a little bit of rest, you know? So, I think my voice is just trained for it now. I used to have a lot of trouble talking for a while, but after podcasting for like, 12 years now, my voice is just used to it. It also helps that I don't yell a lot, so there's that too. I'm glad you're loving them, Slicer. Thank you for being here. Are you going to do a video on the Fallout TV show season 2 finale? Yes. Probably tomorrow's video. That's what we're going to talk about tomorrow, I think. I'm debating it because there's also a world where I think like I want to give it an extra day. So those of y'all who haven't seen season 2 and its finale yet, like I can give it an extra day. Yeah, Dank, you got some work ahead of you, man. We got a full stream. Nemba, I have not played Yakuza 0 yet. I know. That's a cardinal sin. I played Kiwami 1 and 2, Like a Dragon. I did not play 0, which I heard amazing things about. What was the marathon topic? The marathon topic I think we'll do next stream because it's more of a discussion one. It was proposed by Emmett, who is helping me kind of run these streams. He put the headline, has Marathon survived the cancellation? And we were basically going to talk about how the game's sort of experienced, like kind of go back to these touch points of like problems in the game and then revisit where they're at today. And so we'll definitely do that one. That's been on the list for a little bit here. I'm with you, Symmetric. Yeah, I got a lot of love for Bethesda, one of my favorite teams, but got some concerns on where they're heading in the future here. Okay, let's see what we got here. We got a super chat from Corey. Thank you, Corey. Trying to rebuild my retro game console and library after the slow death of the Xbox. Who's a reliable retailer / source? You're not going to like this answer, but eBay. Like, I don't have a direct retailer for you outside of your local game stores. Like, just look up local game stores near me. But eBay is where I started to rebuild my collection. So that's what I would personally recommend. Go on eBay, like make a list of the games that you want and go to eBay and try to find the best deal. Otherwise, local game shops usually are a pretty good place to go. You support a small business that gets very little business otherwise. And that's always a good place to put your money. Sorry if this has been discussed, but do you have any knowledge or predictions about the Steam machine, release date, price, etc.? No, we haven't discussed this, so it's a totally fine question. Even if we had talked about it, I'm happy to answer it. So I don't have any knowledge. Predictions? I mean, I thought Steam machine was going to be like March. I don't know. I thought it was going to be March, maybe April. I don't know if it's too soon now where it's like, I don't remember what was the release window and announcement date for the Steam Deck, like when you could pre-order. Wasn't it still a couple of months? So I'm not sure when Valve plans to put this thing out. Again, I also wonder because they announced it and like RAM prices went through the roof. So like they might be trying to find a good price point for this thing. Maybe they're holding, but my price point, to me, ideal price point would be like, and I'm talking perfect world, by the way. I don't think this happens. The two models are there, 550, 650. I think that is perfect. I think that makes it really exciting. Do I think they do that though? No, I think we're getting like 650, 750 in the best case scenario. So that's my prediction, my friend. Price and release dates. See, I told you guys, like, you go 3 hours and you start to trip on your words. You get a little tired. Hey, Valve also doesn't have any release pattern. That's a very good point. I think about Valve to a fault in the way I think about other companies, and that's not the right way of going about it. You're probably right, Yorkshire. It could be like $800 and $1,000. Like it could just be a very niche device. Like I think even my ideal world is very optimistic. I just want to see the thing really thrive. Like I just want it to do well. I know Valve doesn't want to compete with Xbox and stuff. And I'm like, you know, if you're going to release a machine like this, don't you want it to do like 10, 15 million units? Like you could easily take Xbox's spot. Yeah, if it's I wouldn't even say if it's 1K I'm out. I think if it's like 900, that becomes like a really tough sell, you know? That's yeah. I did not see Tyler McVicker's new Half-Life video. No, I haven't checked it out. But he's been tracking that shit for a while, so that'll be a glorious day when it's finally out for him. I know that there have been some creators that have said like the price is going to be lower. I've also seen some creators that have done like part pickers online and said like it's going to be around like the 900s, like the 8 or 9s. And then if you account for, because like the other thing we have to account for is like this isn't going to include a controller, right? So that can maybe cut the cost. Like how much does this device cost to make versus like its accessories and what's bundled in? Do they bundle in a game with it? Like if you buy the Steam machine, do you get a key for Half-Life 3? Does that happen? Do you get in on a Deadlock? I don't know. I just think in today's economy, like we're basically for today's how expensive it is, Valve needs to undersell on a level that I think is impossible to get people excited for this thing again. And by that I mean like again, $650 is the highest price you see. I think you look at that and you go, really? No way. If they do that though, their fucking reputation will be like unbelievable beyond imagination, especially that in conjunction with Half-Life 3. Oh my gosh. AMD CEO said in its earnings that the next Xbox could be fall of 27. Interesting that they might hold. I figured if PlayStation is going to delay to like 28, that Xbox would also delay, but I've said multiple times that Xbox is in like a spot where they need to get this system out as soon as possible, because I think if it slips, then everyone in Microsoft is going to start asking, like, why are we putting out a console or a console PC hybrid? Why are we putting something out for a very heavily declining part of our business? Like every quarter, hardware revenue's down. Why are we putting our money into this? And so if it gets delayed, it just calls attention to it. Right now, the plans are at least somewhat locked in. What do I think is going to happen with WB Games? Nothing good. Netflix doesn't seem to value video games in the way that we hope they do. And I worry about WB movies. I worry about those too. So, yeah, definitely a fucking awful acquisition. No one wins in that one. Anyway, guys, let's see here. Yeah, okay, we're about to hit the 3-hour mark. And yeah, I got a meeting in 30 minutes. So let me dip, guys. This has been a lot of fun. Thank you again for supporting the streams. If you're trying to put a mental note, like when we could plan to see me again, Friday is what we're thinking. So keep an eye out then. We'll be live. We'll have some fun news to go over together. Maybe even an announcement. Could be fun. Be there or be square. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for the generosity. Thanks for just hanging out. Like I said, I really need this, and I just appreciate you all being here, supporting, and hanging out. So, again, very grateful for you. So please enjoy the rest of your day, evening, night, whatever time of day it is for you. And otherwise, we'll talk soon. Video tomorrow, video Thursday for sure. So look forward to those. But otherwise, guys, take it easy. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.